Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra.
All right, so Three Ninjas Podcast, Domino, Hess, Jones, Bobby. And we are here on an uncommon day. We are recording on a Friday. This will be out on a Saturday. And special guest, guests in the motherfucking building, making his annual appearance.
I know, right?
Every year that we've done the show, he's been on the show. That's 18, 19, and 20. So yeah, Chris Greene is here.
Yep.
Actually in the dojo, actually in the studio, not over the phone.
Live and in person.
And it's cold, super cold.
I don't know why the fuck you in Connecticut, but hey, that's on you, brother.
Hey, man, listen.
And also we got in the building an actress. We have Tamara Austin.
Thank you, thank you.
How are you?
Very good. Happy to be here. Thank you for having
Are
me.
you happy to be here? I don't know about like a half hour, but you know, like right now you good.
It's probably gonna change.
No, I'm glad.
Word. So how's everybody doing, man? Hesh, how you doing, man?
I was doing all right until like the last 45 minutes.
You all right?
My life just fell apart in the last 45 minutes. Came here, I realized I have a big ass hole in my pants. And then I spilled my drink on myself.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I'm all right.
Cool.
Yeah, today's gonna be a day.
Bob alive. How's your week been, man? How you doing?
Chilling.
Everything good, man?
Yeah.
You got the computer working? You good? Everything recording?
Yeah.
Got the pewters pewting?
Yeah, I got the Stark Tech. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. Chris, how you doing, man?
Can't complain. You know, trying to avoid from getting more sick.
We're more sick.
And you
More
come
sick.
to, well, actually, you're lucky it's not as cold as it should be.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it got
Yeah.
warmer apparently.
Yeah.
A little bit warmer.
Yeah, you got lucky.
I don't know if 29 is warm, but you know.
I mean, it's warmer than it has been, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it's like
It was like 40 something
Yeah,
today.
it's like
You know, it's supposed to be
50.
40 something throughout the week.
Yeah.
It felt like spring like a few days ago.
Yeah.
This shit
Nah,
is
that was
spring.
like 2
Well,
weeks
no,
ago.
not this.
Like, it's snow on the
That was
ground.
like
What you
2
talking
weeks
about?
ago.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Like it was like extremely hot.
And then it dropped to like fucking like 20s.
Yeah.
And then it fucking went back up. So global warming is really happening.
No,
This,
yeah.
no, this is New
Absolutely.
England, nigga.
Well,
this ain't global. Well,
It's a little bit of both, nigga.
Yeah.
a little bit of both.
Nah, it's-
Polar bears and penguins is dying and shit. Man. All type of shit is
Ain't no
happening.
polar bears left.
So, Chris,
Ain't enough Coke cans.
we know why you in Connecticut, but why the fuck are you in Connecticut?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
You know, I make my rounds. That's how I do.
Word.
So it's crazy. I was in LA, left, went back to Florida for the little one, and then came out here. And now I'm going back to Florida, and then I'm going to Atlanta.
Damn.
Oh, you on the move?
Yeah,
What you got going on, man? You just, you acting?
hustling.
Hacking.
Meetings, man. Meetings. So hopefully there's gonna be a lot of that going on this year. I had to do a change. I had to get rid of the team and just start all over.
Okay.
Yeah, you pulled the rock.
Listen, man, sometimes you gotta do that shit. You see what happened when he did that.
Shit, yeah.
You see what
Right.
happened.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta do that, man. If people
Yeah.
are not on board with the vision, you gotta get rid of them.
Right.
I remember one of the last times we talked to you, you had like a gripe with the industry. You was like, yo, I'm not getting no work. Fuck the industry.
Yeah.
I
Right.
quit acting.
Oh, it's still like not to quit, but the fuck the industry.
I walked that one back.
Right.
Yeah, it's still no, it's basically the change, resistant to change, and I had to find a way to use the platforms to my advantage and not get caught in the trap of doing these TikToks and Instagram shit, blah blah blah. You had to find a way,
Just shitting on everybody. Cool.
right? Basically, essentially. I mean, but it's fly by night, man.
Right.
It's longevity. Like prime example, if you watch the awards, if you look at half the actors that won some shit on the awards, a lot of them don't have Instagram pages and social media, or their company is doing it, but they're not really on there like that.
Yeah.
And it was actually some decent movies this year. Like it was actually some pretty decent movies this year.
I mean, but were they older actors or younger actors?
Nah.
Because the older actors feel like this ain't for them.
Yeah,
The
it's
TikToks and Instagrams.
right. That's what you have the team for. You know what I mean? So it's really just having people manage that. And that way you can focus on what you need to do. I think that's really what the problem was, and I had I had to figure that out. Was that shit takes a lot of time. Like the social media, Twitter, Instagram, all that.
Yeah.
And that takes time away from you doing what you're supposed to do, which is working on your craft and telling stories. And not doing trash shit. You know what I mean? So like cats don't look at it, oh, this motherfucker sucks. Like
Tyler Perry.
yeah,
Oh, shit.
right.
Tyler Perry.
Essentially. So, you gotta focus on what it is that you gotta do. I tell people all the time, actors are no different than professional athletes. You know what I'm saying? Like picture LeBron not being in the gym shooting jump shots and just being on Twitter and Instagram all day. He's not gonna go on the court and drop 30, 40 and do what he's doing if he's not practicing throughout the week. You know what I'm saying? He's just gonna go in there and be trash. I don't care how good he is. He's got to practice every day, and it's like that's essentially what we're doing as actors. It's like we have to practice every day and not be on the social media as much.
I mean, but the social media and the Instagram and stuff, that is to a lot of people's advantage. Because I've seen people go from, you know, having 100 followers to like 1,000 followers to like being on major movies. Like I remember watching Fat Boy's first video.
Yeah.
And then I see him now, he's with Master P and he's doing appearances. He's doing this, that, and the third. What's the other comedian I follow? Desi Banks.
Desi Banks. Yeah, he's in Atlanta.
I remember watching his first video, and now what he's doing, like, you can use this to your advantage. So,
Right.
But it's just not for everybody.
Right.
I guess.
And that's the thing. Yes,
you can create your own character and just
right.
I think it's different for actors because for comedians, you can have your special niche. You can, I mean, think of like King Bach.
Right.
You know, like he has his sketch shows and then he brings on other comedians on as well. And then like hairstylists, they blow up because they're providing a service to people. Whereas an actor, you can really be typecast if you're just doing one persona. And I think that can be very difficult if you're not trying to be pigeonholed to be one character type. So if you're really trying to be diverse, you also don't want to show too much of a personality to where you're pigeonholed, but you also need to showcase who you are. I think it's a really difficult position specifically for actors. It's good for dancers, it's good for comedians, but as an actor, if you're really serious about the craft, you just want to be famous, and that's a totally different story. And some people, that's what they want, then that's on them, and that's fine. But if you're more on the artistic viewpoint, I feel it's a bit different in how you market yourself. But social media is a job. It's a lot of work. And I just wrapped on a film that I worked this entire month, and I stayed off.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. Yeah, but I stayed off social media the entire time. That way I could stay focused on the work. I wasn't...
Because it's easy to fall down that wormhole, especially when you see something that's trending. You want to find out why. Next thing you know, you done spend an hour on Instagram or whatever, finding out what's going on. And the other thing I'll piggyback on top of that is the detriment. Like, so comedians, it works, but then when you try to go outside that bubble, like, for example, have you guys seen the Kevin Hart documentary?
Yeah.
Don't Fuck Us Up? You saw what happened when the whole Twitter shit, and Bryan Cranston was like, "No, I can't do no press with you, dog. You're gonna make me look bad." So,
Right.
and this is your
when they was doing that, what's that wheelchair movie he was in?
the Upside.
Upside.
Yeah. But I mean, it makes sense because Bryan Cranston's like, yo, and he's on social media, but he's like, I'm an actor, I'm not a comedian.
Yeah.
So if they see me doing this with you, then it's like by default you support being homophobic, quote unquote. So it's like, nah, you can't. But I get you. It's stupid. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, you messing with my paper. So
You're not gonna fuck up my bag because you put some tweets out there and they was stupid
10 years ago. But this is where we live in. That's the bad thing about social media.
Plus, he knows every fucking interview they're gonna do together that's gonna come up, and then he's gonna have to either sit through
Awkward as hell,
or they're gonna try to ask him his opinion about some shit, and he's gonna have to like dance around that shit. So he's like, I'd rather just not throw myself in the situation.
I mean, think about like the cast of Roseanne. Everybody
man.
was not, or think about like Felicia Rashad. With Bill Cosby, like
Queen.
It's when
right,
exactly. But it's
No
unfortunate when somebody messes up, then the whole team has to take it, or even House of Cards.
Like
I
forgot all about that.
Yeah, I know.
Really respectable people, due to association, unfortunately, get hurt by that, even if they're not involved, and it's really unfortunate.
It's easy to slip up too. We did that whole press run with Birth of a Nation. We had to sit down with the publicist for the film and go, yo, check this out. Any question they ask you about Nate, this is how you get around it. And when you're doing these red carpet interviews, this shit is crazy. Like, I'll do and literally it'll be lined up just like this. And I'll be with Hesh and he'll be like, so what happened with Nate? And then I'll move on from it. And you standing right there next to him and you heard him and you go, so what happened with Nate? It's back to back to back. It's like, yo, you just heard the answer that I did.
No, I'm not gonna answer this question.
Right. But
it's also their job too, because if they don't ask,
but the thing is, somebody will slip
Right.
up. Like, you'll have 5 or 10 people do that in a row,
get
and then
tired
after
of
that,
saying-
it'll slip up. Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
shit.
Hey, right there.
G
man.
bringing pieces?
I got
Thank
you.
you.
I
they
have
ordered
pepperoni,
that.
have cheese going.
Yeah.
We got that Ninja Turtle meal in.
She don't love us that much to order pizza for us and shit.
Right. Still charging the shit.
G's like, word? G like, word? It's like that?
Nah, I like you, my nigga. I swear. That nigga don't love us that much. Hey, I bought your food.
I mean, he brings us alcohol and shit.
He brings us alcohol,
yeah, he do.
but that's
Yeah.
not sustenance. That's not gonna.
As he's sitting there drinking. As he's sitting there drinking.
Right?
That's not sustenance. Let me pour
I
my shit
appreciate you because this, I had a hard day. I'm hungry. So
Nah, G did give it us a bottle though.
Yeah.
That E&J.
We drank the whole goddamn thing.
Yeah, over like 3 episodes we did.
And
Down that shit.
we should not have, because y'all niggas is
I mean, the
wild.
episodes were pretty good. Y'all, us.
That was
Yeah.
you.
Us?
Yeah.
Us. Cool. Heard you. So now, can y'all talk about the project y'all working on, Tamara? Can you talk about the movie you just wrapped on or no?
The project name might change, but it is it's a paranormal horror film. I don't know exactly what all I can speak on it just yet, but it is my first lead role.
Oh,
on
congrats.
a feature. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It was a really great team. Nate Boyer is attached.
Hold on, do you
he's
guys
an
know who
actor.
that is real quick before?
No,
I do not.
I'm gonna have to Google.
Okay.
Google
Well,
it.
you can tell. She's gonna tell you who this guy
Okay,
is.
go ahead while I Google.
Actually, a lot of vets were involved in this project. They were all fantastic to work with. It made me feel like, dang, what am I doing with my life? Because they all served our country, but right now they're serving on a much bigger scale. One of the vets, his name is Rudy. He was on the project. He acted in it. He is on this project called Project Blue, where they help save the coral reefs around the world. So they travel. Nate Boyer played for the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, so I do have the right one. Cool.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
He played football, and if I remember correctly, he approached Colin Kaepernick when Colin Kaepernick was protesting, and this is at the time when he would sit down on the bench, and Nate approached him and said, as a vet, you should also stand with your team, but do something to still honor what you believe in, and he made the recommendation of kneeling.
Yeah.
So that's Nate. Yeah, so really, really great, wonderful guy. And actually, he was the connection of how I got involved in the project because we both have the same manager now.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Stephen Graham. He wrote, directed, and produced, and he's the lead actor on the film. So an every man job. So
Team No Sleep.
yeah, everybody involved, down from the costume, hair, and PAs. Everybody did everything. It was really, really a hands-on project. Everybody was wonderful. They're actually still filming right now, but I just wrapped today.
You just wrapped it in. Okay, cool.
Yeah, today was my last day.
Cool. Now, Chris, we see you here with this jacket on. You're able to talk about.
Oh, you can talk about it. It's cool.
Okay. had to know.
Yeah, you can talk about it.
So,
So release date is going to be, I think they're saying September this year.
So The Conjuring 3.
Right.
You're in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
As far as right now, hopefully they didn't cut my shit. but
Okay.
Right now, I'm told. Yes.
Right now you're in that.
Right now.
So in what capacity are you in that? Are you like Black Man number 2 or like what are you?
No, a little bit more important than Black Man number 2.
Okay.
I'm probably actually the only black. No, there's no black dude in there. Because these films take place back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
My guy is just he discovers some stuff that basically changes how you see the main character. Rest of the
That
film.
sound like death.
Yeah.
Sound like number death.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm dead or not. That's
Okay.
the thing. I don't know if I'm.
You
dead
don't
or
know
not.
if you're going.
On paper, I'm not. But you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So we'll see, man. It's cool because hopefully I'm not, because all them films, Conjuring, Annabelle, all them films tie in together. So,
Where'd they shoot at?
we shot that in the outskirts of Atlanta. We were in. That's the thing. We were shooting somewhere. This is the first time I ever heard about it. But it was past McDonough. So McDonough is from Atlanta, probably like an hour. We were past that. So that's the thing about, people don't realize about Georgia. Georgia's very, mountains and woods.
Yeah.
And blah, blah.
Oh yeah.
So you get that look.
Yeah,
they
right.
find these small little towns
Mm-hmm.
and go
crazy.
from there, man. So
So
I don't
that's
know
the
where
Stone
we were.
Mountain. It's nothing but them.
Yeah, nah, you don't want to be in Stone Mountain.
No, at all.
You don't want to be in Stone Mountain.
Yeah.
They still got Confederate flags over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you said that you fired your whole team. Now, what does your whole team consist of?
So I had representation on West Coast, and then I had my representation on the East Coast, and then I had a manager West Coast as well, and it just wasn't panning out. You know what I mean? It's like, this is what I want to do. This is what I should be doing,
Right.
and the shit just wasn't coming in. And the thing about it is, it's not on some egotistical shit. It's like, yo, look at my resume. It's funny because like you guys said,
Yeah.
the whole Sam Jackson shit, and I never thought about it like that. But I'm looking at my resume, I'm like, damn, I do pop up in like random shit.
Random shit everywhere.
But it's not like, it's like shit people have heard about.
Yeah.
So it's just like, damn, somebody on the way over here, somebody tweeted, I'm watching Chance and Chris Greene is on there. Like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like I was watching Walking Dead, and you just went,
Yeah, right. Right.
Who that nigga?
So it's like, that was a twin. I don't know what
Yeah,
y'all talking
died on
about.
screen. Goddamn.
So it's one of those things where it's like, yo, respect the resume, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I wasn't getting the offers, and then I kind of had to, which is detriment to an actor because when you get to a certain status, that's the only way you can get access to these jobs. It's
Yeah.
through the agents, like the high paying, take care of your family and bills jobs. You know what I mean?
Question. You watched Aladdin, right?
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah. You what? We talked about this in the DM. You remember?
She's gonna be the one to talk to you
Hold
about
on,
that.
hold on.
Why not?
What's the question?
Well, there's an actor up there called Mena Massoud, right? He played Aladdin.
The lead
And
in the movie.
Yeah, and he said since that movie came out, he didn't get no callbacks for any role. Well, he didn't
Well,
get. He didn't
no
even get an audition.
auditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
I think especially for people of color who are in the industry, it can be really. We can be
Damn,
typecasted.
that's just
Shut the fuck. No. Because
no, we could
Oh,
really be
go ahead.
typecasted though.
Mm.
And for Mina, he's on the show Reprisal, which I also worked on. We never shot together though, but for Reprisal, what I loved about it is a very diverse show. It's very, very diverse.
I need to watch that shit, by the way.
That's on Hulu, right?
Yes. It's on
Okay, that's
Hulu.
what I seen.
And they dropped
Alright.
all the episodes at once on December 6th. So
Okay.
definitely
Okay.
need to check it out.
I'm gonna check that out.
But Mina had just booked Aladdin, and then immediately after he had just booked Reprisal. But the Josh who created the show, the showrunner, he did not know that he was involved with Aladdin, and Mina's team told him like, "Hey, is this going to be a conflict of interest because this is a kid show?" And Reprisal's like,
Yeah.
you know, it was really grotesque. But he was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's a good actor. Unfortunately, in our industry, sometimes he can be really typecasted. And because now he's been involved with Disney, he's in this Disney world, it seems, perhaps. And it might limit him. And then he might also have a price tag over his head, like, oh, he might be too expensive.
Right.
That was
Right.
That was my argument. I was saying maybe it was his agents going in there like, look at this. My guy was in Aladdin, made $1 billion.
Like,
it's like, oh, fuck that shit.
If you think back in the day, during the whole Twilight saga, Taylor Lautner didn't work a lot after that. But I think his reps were also going in with a high number. And then he was also probably being picky about his job. But I'm also not in that situation to know behind the scenes what exactly happened.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't know. But for Mina, I know from reading from his interview is that he wanted also more diversity in his roles, not just to be a Middle Eastern guy or a terrorist. You know, he wanted to.
Hesh was right.
And that's the thing.
Actually,
he did.
For the show Reprisal, Mina even stated that he was a wild card audition. So it was actually any ethnicity, but primarily Caucasian. And then when they didn't necessarily find, they would throw in one wild card, so one of any ethnicity. And Mina went in, he did his job. He did a beautiful job, obviously, where he got the role. But it wasn't specifically geared towards Middle Eastern. It wasn't specific.
Right.
So that's what Mina is fighting for, as well as a lot of us. You know, I'm really blessed in my career to say that I've had pretty diverse roles where it's not race specific. Some are, but not everything.
You got to understand too, when you, so to that, when he booked Aladdin, just like Tamara said, it's like you finish a job, it's on to the next one. So people forget that. You know what I'm saying? The shows may come out and it's just like, oh, well, you worked on Reprisal. It's like, no, I did all that kind of at the same time and they came out at the same time. That doesn't mean that I'm working regularly. You know what I mean? It's like people forget that aspect because it doesn't take us, you know, a year anymore to shoot films.
Yeah.
You know, unless you have various locations that,
Thanks,
you know,
Tyler
you doing,
Perry.
yeah, right. 5 days. You need 5 days.
5 days.
Or
That's all I need.
3 weeks for a series.
That's all I
Right.
need, B.
Right.
Well, I said all that, and they was like, "Nah, he just fucking up."
Nah,
was like-
because my whole thing was I didn't want to put it more so on his race. When you said he's not getting auditions, I said that's more so on his management and his team more than it is on him.
Yeah,
It's a little bit of everything because it's like Tamara said, his team could go in and go, yo, he won't work for less than this.
That's what
And
I
it might
was
be a
saying.
gig that he
But
wants.
he was like,
Yeah.
nah, this is race. That's why he ain't getting
it's
auditions. I'm like,
some of that as well.
and then I was like, his acting stuff, like, was he that good in that Aladdin where it was like, hey, I could put this in front of y'all face and be like, hey, I did Aladdin.
Well, that's
That's
why
why
I
I
said
should
if you
get this,
watch
that, and the third.
Reprisal, because I was actually shocked. I saw him in Reprisal and I was just like, okay, this dude did a complete 180. Yeah, it's a totally different role.
And I think that's sometimes the stereotype with casting is that they just see you in that one
Right.
thing.
Right, yeah.
You know, to where they're locked in. And again, just like we just talked about with Instagram, you know, it's hard what you can put out because then like that's all people see and I can't see them in another role.
Right.
That's why the actress for Will and Grace, it was very difficult for her to find, the one who played Grace, it was very difficult for her to find different work. And she did a good job in other roles, but she even booked a show and the network wanted her to be a character similar to Grace. And she's like, no, the other network owns that character. I cannot play that.
Yeah.
You know, and then they let that go. But then she went on to do other work. So then she reprised Will and Grace. But sometimes I think that can be the troublesome things about some actors that we get locked in when you're a notable character or when you're a character for so long. Some break out of it, like Bryan Cranston.
I was just gonna say Bryan Cranston.
He broke that glass. First off,
But look at the gaps in between Malcolm in the middle to Breaking Bad.
But he also broke that glass ceiling from being a comedic father to a very dramatic, serious role, which is very hard to do just with comedy and drama alone. So he's brilliant.
And if you
around.
research, they actually initially turned down the offer for him because they were like, Malcolm in the middle
guy.
Right. He
That's
fought
how
for
it
it.
goes. And they were like, nah. Vince Gilligan was like, nah, you need to see this guy. And he had to fight for it. And sometimes, man, that's just, you know, and what she touched on is also, we get these breakdowns. A lot of times, man, and this is my gripe with, I'm about to pull a Dame Dash real quick.
Do it.
This is my gripe with a lot of the successful black execs, you know, the Will Packers, the Tyler Perrys, these people who scream, you know, hey, all right, you know, we need to stop doing this and we have diversity. And it's like, okay, well, you guys in a power position. So, you know, I understand you want to work with your friends, but there's a whole plethora of other black actors, actresses, Latin, Egyptian, whatever. It's like, but you see it click, just like with the whole quote unquote Asian invasion. And you seeing the same people pop up all over the place. And it's like, Hollywood is very cliquey. So when we get auditions, it'll be open ethnicity. And 9 times out of 10, no bullshit, 9 times out of 10, they're going to cast a white dude. You know what I'm saying? Or cast a white chick. That's just how it goes down. They do that so they don't get hit with the, oh, okay, well, we offered it.
We tried. We did our best. We saw some black people, but they weren't what we wanted.
Right.
Yeah, no, but they can say it.
Right.
And then it's not like, oh, they didn't look at any black people, any people of color.
But then you look at I had this conversation with somebody else in LA, an actor out there in LA, and they didn't realize how influential Brad Pitt is to put movies out for the culture. Brad Pitt's produced so many black films and low key.
12 Years a Slave. Too,
Yeah,
right?
it's 12. I mean, his resume.
Yeah, wasn't he in that as like the nice white guy?
Yeah.
Well, no, but this is something that just came out. He was part of.
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
The Quentin Tarantino shit?
No, When They See Us, I think he was like a producer or some shit like that.
Brad Pitt?
I think it was.
Oh, When They See Us, yeah, he's produced a couple of Ava's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh shit, that nigga down with the swirl?
Yeah. So
where Brad Pitt? I'm fucking with Brad Pitt now.
You know, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like he's behind the scenes. He's not broadcasting.
Yeah,
it
he's
because
just
he's
doing
like,
it.
yo, I want to tell these. And the fact that he adopted a black daughter, it's like, you know, he's talked about that when they finally asked him in interviews. He's like, it's contradictory for me to teach my daughter about diversity, and I'm not producing. I'm in this position, and I'm not putting out that content.
Lead by example.
So
Yeah, see? He's just doing it. He's not like trying to make it about him. He's like, I'm gonna just produce this stuff. If you didn't know he was part of it, you didn't know if he fucking did it.
Like right now,
No, I didn't know. I
Ava
had no
DuVernay
clue.
and Lena Waithe got shit on lock. They can
Yeah.
basically do whatever, and it's for me. It's just like, all right, well, start putting, you know, and it's not even. I hate that term, putting people on. It's not putting people on. It's just give them the opportunity. You know what I mean? Like if they suck, then they suck.
Yeah.
But don't just go to, oh, okay, we need this guarantee. So, because I get it, you know, these studios and execs, it's a business at the end of the day. They want to get their money back. But there's so many more people now looking at projects and going, you know what? I rocks with this. You know, I want to do this. Todd Phillips talked about how much shit he got when he approached Warner Brothers. It was like, okay, I want to do this Joker film, but I don't want to do it like this. I want to do it like, and they was telling Todd Phillips like, all right, the door's right there. Peace. And now these execs coming out. We always believe in the product. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
that made $1 billion. We
stories.
believed in it from the
That's
beginning.
why the
Right.
budget's so
That
goddamn low.
was such a beautiful movie.
Yeah,
It's one of my
crazy.
favorites.
One of your favorite movies? Like,
For nomination season this year, that was, I believe, Best Picture. The writing was impeccable. I love that it touched on so many metaphors. The subtext with mental health issues. They touched on economic class issues. I mean, just so much. I love that the lead love interest was a black woman, and they
Zazie.
did not
Shout out
whitewash
Zazie.
I
her.
love her.
They did not whitewash
Do you know
her.
Zazie? Either of y'all know Zazie.
No,
I
I have a
did-
degree of separation though.
I didn't work with her. Well, she has an extra one now. I didn't. So in Atlanta, we didn't work together that first season, but we kicked it at the rap party.
Okay.
And she's really nice. She's really sweet, man. And I knew like once just talking to her, I was like, yo, she's about to blow up because she was just like, I'm about to go get it. Like,
Listen,
I'm not
I go
playing
by
no
the name
games.
of Domino. She played Domino in a movie. We have a synergy. All right. Tell her I love her. All right.
I probably will not see her anytime soon, man. She is like destroying the game. She just got locked for some animated feature doing her voice like elite. Like she's nonstop working. Damn. Yeah. I mean, you might get the. I mean, Atlanta's coming back this year to film in Atlanta, so you might want to.
Are you on it?
No.
No.
I mean, why?
Not yet.
Not that I know
Not yet.
of.
You don't know.
Not that I know of. I mean, I don't know. They could call me.
Could have been another newscast. I don't know.
No, they might bring it back. I mean, it's not like they can't. So
Yeah, but everybody's so busy on that show, which is
right. That's why there's the
fantastic.
gaps. Everybody is busy,
Yeah,
and then
everybody's.
and then
working.
Donald. Unfortunately, Donald lost his dad last year. I think it was his dad died.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that. So between the baby and then his dad dying, he has well, it's not newborn now. Baby's probably a year. And then they were supposed to do that FX deal with
The
Deadpool.
Deadpool shit, and that didn't.
it didn't go through because they didn't like I guess he was trying to stick true to the comic.
Creative differences.
Yeah, right.
As they call it.
Quote unquote.
Then Lion King, all this Donald's just all over the place, and then Brian Tyree Henry is doing the same. He's
Out
popping
here.
up everywhere.
Yeah.
He's doing
He in
He was
Eternals.
also in
Eternals.
Joker.
Yep.
He's also in
Yeah.
Joker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's on
He was in
Eternals. Yeah.
And then Lakeith Stanfield,
He was in-
obviously out.
Oh,
doing shit,
man.
yeah.
The photograph.
I do want to see that joint, and shout out to Lakeith, man, because now I put this up online the other day. I'm hoping that people see black love interest ain't got to be Michael B. Jordan, Creed. Like Lakeith is, because he's never played that. Like you see him in, and he's another actor that I respect because you see him in Uncut Gems. And he's playing the most hood dude ever. You know what I'm saying? And then you see him in this, and he's this clean cut. You know what I mean? For him,
Yeah.
love interest. And I hope he kills it, man. Because if he doesn't,
I'm really surprised Lakeith be getting work because he be wild.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like,
outside of it.
Like I think he's like a flat earther. He be rapping. He be doing all types of shit on the internet.
Charlamagne did shut him down on the rap though.
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
Yeah.
He just, he's a free spirit.
He's a but that shit don't work all the time. No.
That's true. It's a little weird.
Yeah, it is.
Now, Tamara, what's your background in acting? Where you from?
I'm a military child, so I'm from everywhere.
From everywhere. Just
everywhere. I was born in Misawa, Japan. And
Oh,
I
shit.
lived in-
It's Japanese.
yeah, then I lived in England, and then Germany, where my brother was born, and then Okinawa, Japan, and then I moved to San Antonio, Texas, and then Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
mhm. So
I reside in Tampa.
so where have you spent the most time?
Tampa, far too long.
It's warm in Tampa. What you-
Well, I'm used to moving every 4 to 5 years, and I've been in Tampa for 10.
Mm.
It's time to go.
So now, how'd you get into acting?
I've always been a fan of it when I was overseas, but unfortunately they didn't offer programs.
Mm.
I went to a play in Germany and it was in German. It was Wizard of Oz, and I actually suffered from a learning disability. So I had difficulty just processing.
Mm.
So I always was a little bit behind in elementary school, but when I saw the play, Wizard of Oz, first time ever seeing it, I could fully understand without somebody explaining it to me.
Right.
So I knew that was something of interest since then. But once I came to the States when I was 13, that's when I finally was able to join the theater, and I fell in love and haven't looked back. I already knew I wanted to make a career out of it. I've always been a hard worker, so I always had to learn and process differently from everybody else. But I just made it work somehow, some way. But I've acted, but I've also worked behind the scenes too, just stage managing and directing. I've done a lot of theater. It's only recently I've gotten involved in film. I've been a member of SAG since 2014 when I did Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah, that's on here.
Yeah.
I see the IMDb, girl.
Y'all gotta pull that Vampire Diaries scene up.
Oh my gosh, yeah, my very first
and
TV
they
job.
had her going in.
Oh, we definitely.
He likes to mess with me about that. He loves to mess with me about that. Yeah, my very
I was like,
first.
that's your first gig? Oh shit.
Yeah, I had to straddle Michael Trevino, and kiss up on his chest. Everything.
You know, it's Vampire.
He was playing.
Bobby.
Nah, I'm fucking.
Always the.
Yeah,
I know.
that was my intro to the TV world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, do you have a dream role?
A dream role.
Anything that you like to play, like a badass, like femme fatale, or like,
Nothing really specifically.
being a
but,
dramedy or something.
But a drama would definitely be nice. I really like really diverse characters that hold a lot of subtext. I feel like Regina King is getting those ideal roles. I really like
she's
supporting actors that are now getting recognition. I've been following their careers for a very long time. Like Kerry Washington before she really blew up. Like I remember her as a guest star from Law and Order.
Yeah.
Like I followed her career since then. Now everybody knows her name. Same with Viola Davis.
She was also on Law and Order. Like if you ain't
I
on
think
Law and Order,
everybody-
you
Yeah, a
ain't
lot of
shit.
Adam Driver was on.
I think
Law and Order.
everybody runs through Law and
That's
Order.
probably why I'm not blowing up yet, because I haven't done Law and Order.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that.
I need to get on my shit.
You better hurry up for
You
the
ever tried out for that?
Yeah, no, I haven't got no audition for it. But with
damn.
this new team, I probably will.
Yeah, with the new team.
Better hurry up for the cancel. There's only like
And that shit is going nowhere.
they only got one. They only got one Law and Order left now, right?
No,
What, SVU?
SVU?
That shit always get renewed.
I think
though.
so.
Because they
that's
canceled.
20 seasons deep though.
Oh, they canceled Bow Wow shit? The cyber team?
That's NCIS, dog.
I think that.
Oh, that is?
Yeah.
I'll be watching this shit.
I just say because they had like the regular one, and then they had the SVU.
Yeah.
And then
And,
criminal.
What about the
Criminal
nigga from
Intent.
Fast and Furious? Which one is he? The nigga that was in like the weird Fast and Furious, like the Tokyo Drift one or
that's
some shit.
Bow Wow nigga?
NCIS, New Orleans.
No, but the
Lucas
white
Black,
dude, the little
Lucas Black.
Texas white dude.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lucas,
Lucas Black.
Black.
him?
Yeah.
No, that's still on. That's still on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
But that's
still on.
NCIS though.
New
Oh,
Orleans.
I don't watch the shit. I just like my mom be watching the shit. I be like, oh, that's him. But
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah, no, it's. I mean that stuff is, and them checks is probably super fat.
Yeah, because
Residuals.
syndication too, right?
And it's popping
It's
up
cable.
everywhere.
Mm.
You know, Ice-T be up there with no motion. We gotta find
He's
the
still
quick.
on. I thought he did he?
I don't watch the show as I just know they're still on TV.
He be up there on occasionally.
you raped her. That's it. That's it. You didn't be getting into it.
That dude, man, he's
I hate you.
Now, Bobby, what's the question you wanted to ask Chris about the
Oh, what was it? What?
about the we was talking about Robert Downey Jr. last episode, and we was talking about what we was talking about
how he's too damn rich.
that too.
What was that?
Tropic Thunder?
You was talking about Alex Thomas.
Oh,
Yeah.
Alex Thomas, right? Okay, for anybody who doesn't know who Alex Thomas is, if you watch the Players Club, he was Ice Cube's friend. You know, the one that was gonna get the all right. So come to find out, he's in a lot of shit I didn't know about. Like he has Reading credits, he has all types of shit. That's because he used to hang out. Well, he still hangs out with Eddie Murphy, and I guess him and Aries Spears went back and forth because Aries Spears comes off as the bitter, like
Right,
the bitter guy that
right, he
didn't really
does.
get it.
Oh,
But
he don't come on. Yo, he is.
Man, I don't.
yeah, so anyway,
I think in that Jordan Peele situation, I think he was better. But some of the other shit he was saying makes
Aries
sense.
Spears been doing the same 6 fucking impersonations for like 20 years, B.
Yeah, why you hating Aries Spears?
I'm
like
not
that?
hating on Aries Spears. Get your money, black man. But I'm just saying the fucking Jay-Z LL Cool J impersonation. I'm
DMX.
done with it.
DMX, yeah.
I'm see, she know it. See,
That's my
I'm done with it.
That's my doppelganger. Respect, nigga.
this is a dog.
No, ain't no fucking Aries Spears. I'm gonna put more respect on you than that.
But his impersonations really be on point.
No, they be on point.
They
They be on
legit
point when you practicing for fucking 20 years. Of course. This nigga be fucking Denzel in 20 years.
Where all this anger for Aries Spears come from?
Ain't no,
It's built up.
I don't have no, yo, you ain't gonna add it to the list of niggas I hate. I don't hate Aries Spears. I don't got a problem with Aries Spears. I'm just
Don't
saying.
sound like
Aries
it.
Spears, please take care
Change
of
it
yourself.
up.
I know you're not older, but you might be on Dom's hit list. So.
Yo, Aries Spears dies. Yo.
I'll put these paws on you, bro. Get you out of here.
You already got them elbows on him.
I'm just saying.
No.
Hey.
Dude, this might beat him up.
Yeah, like Zoe.
Wait, what happened?
Oh, this dude, Zoe from Corey Holcomb's.
Yeah, that's what it was.
5150
I
shit.
thought it was Corey Hogan.
No, he
but
got in a
okay,
fight with
cool.
him?
Yeah.
No, not him. He got in a fight with his co-host Zoe. He
Yeah.
kept saying like light skin jokes, and he just went off and hit him with the bows. Like,
Oh, wow. Wow.
Threw them bows at him.
The beige rage kicked in?
right,
Hey,
yeah,
Waffle color wall.
all right. But Alex Thomas, right? All right. Come to find out, he was in the Castaway,
Okay.
and I never knew he was in that, but he still gets residual checks.
Oh, yeah. They play that movie.
Well, you said they cut his scene, right? Or some shit?
Yeah, they couldn't see. So, how would you feel about that? because he thought since he was gonna be in this film, he thought his life was about to be different. So he bought a tailor-made suit. You know, he went to the premiere, and then come to find out his scene got cut.
That's the worst way to find out.
It's the worst.
That's the worst way to find out.
when you find out I have had that happen.
Had a scene get cut? Like,
No,
like
no.
Ma, look right here.
It's coming.
Nothing.
Wait, hold on.
That's why you don't.
It's
a lot of actors
heartbreaking.
won't tell any. That's the thing. It's like people get mad at me all the time, and I'm like, I don't say shit. Like even with The Conjuring, I just said it, but I'm like, you go in the theater, that shit get cut. I will go watch it first, and then I'll tell everybody, hey yo, that way I know I'm in there.
Right.
'Cause I've had it happen before too, and that shit is the worst feeling, man. When you sitting there, you're like, yeah, it's coming up, and everybody like, where you at? And it's just like, nah, what happened was director's cut.
You know when I feel confident about it is when I go in for an ADR session.
Yeah.
When I'm literally witnessing, and then I have to do the voiceover for it,
Right,
and then I'm
right.
like, okay, well,
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good here.
good. Yes,
making it.
absolutely.
Oh, you have to explain that
or the
for
trailer.
the listeners.
Yeah,
who don't know what
ADR is what does it stand for again?
automated. Oh wow,
Hold on,
really?
hold on. It's just terminology we use.
I was about to say audio direct.
That's what I thought. I was like, audio.
Audio digital
No,
recording.
it's automated dialogue replacement.
Thank
Oh.
you.
Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
Yes. thank you.
ADR.
Yes.
So yeah, they basically just have
learning.
you go in
like
and,
this.
in a situation like in a studio like this, like they'll have a TV screen and they'll play back and usually ADR will happen if like you're on location. So like if cars are driving
much
by,
noise.
or people, they'll have you come in and do
Redo the
scene.
shit.
Okay,
yeah.
that's like Hugh Jackman when he was
Yeah,
doing
when the Wolverine
Logan,
shit, he was doing that shit.
ADR.
He was doing that. Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Is that hard to do? Because it's like,
No,
you have to,
he went overboard. I wouldn't do that shit.
Well,
not that
it-
Hugh Jackman could just like you have to like recreate the
Yeah,
thing
and
that
it's
you
hard,
did.
man. It's hard.
They're actually professional voice actors that do that. Ross from Walking Dead, he does that.
Okay.
He has another, so he's the series regular on Walking Dead. Of course, he plays Aaron.
He's the guy that's also in. He replaced Hugo Weaving as Red Skull.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
He's amazing at impersonations.
Oh, his impersonations is on point. This dude is
He's
good.
phenomenal.
Who's better,
at it.
him or Ari Spears?
Oh, by far he is.
Okay, cool.
He's
more
very
versatile.
diverse.
He's
Yes.
more versatile.
Yes.
he's gonna fuck
But
you
he'll
up.
go in and
I'll fight Ari Spears.
He was telling me he'll do Brad Pitt and John Malkovich sometimes, quite often, because either
They're not
they're
busy.
really they're unavailable.
Oh, so he'll just like
yeah,
take the place of somebody.
he'll do their ADR
Oh,
for
shit.
them
Oh,
because
okay.
they're off shooting something else or they're
Shit.
busy and he's available. Then he'll do it
Right.
if he has off time.
Right.
Because like if he's not in one episode of Walking Dead, then he has 2 weeks off,
Right.
so he can
you could
go.
go do some
He
voiceover.
can go
work
to
and shit.
Europe and travel all
So
over.
you're
He can just go
getting that
do
series
ADR.
regular money.
Right, just
The money your homeboy is talking about that might change his life. So we're not quite there yet. We're not quite there. So you were saying he was. You were asking about how you feel about getting cut or the residuals. What was your?
Well, I know you like the residuals, but just the whole thing, like just the whole thing.
There's
of getting
hold
cut.
on,
It's like,
hold on. Clarify. There's no liking. We love residuals.
I know,
I
so
ain't saying
I
I
like it. I'm
He was like, hey,
I'm just saying
That's
to
our bread and butter.
how I eat.
be credited in a movie like that and to not be in it, and you told your family, "Oh, I'm about to be the castaway with Tom Hanks. This is about to
Listen,
change my life."
Fuck all that. We going to
Oh.
Sizzler. Fuck we in the movie. You don't see me on screen, but we going to Sizzler.
Right. And here's the reality of it. Unfortunately, man, is if you're not what they call top of show,
Yeah.
you're really or above the line for movies, you're really not getting that much bread. Like all these actors it takes to make a film, we essentially get minimum wage, which in the grand scheme of things is a lot. When somebody goes, oh, you got to pay all this money to only work for a couple of weeks, but then we got to stretch that shit out for 6 months.
Right.
Yeah.
So it balances out. Like we don't get checks every 2 weeks. Like the residuals don't come like that. As soon as we finish, we got to wait a year
Oh yeah.
because the film's got to come out.
Yeah.
It's got to be shown. So unless you're somebody that's getting contracted like a Brad Pitt, Will Smith, Denzel, these cats, and then they getting the back end money, you're not making. It's the 1%. It's like any other job. It's
or a
like
series regular.
yeah, or a series regular. It's like if you're not
First constant.
constantly working. But the downside to that is when you're a series regular is that's why so many actors want to get that on TV shows, but you want to be on a good TV show because you now at that point you're locked off. You can't do anything
else. So you have to
right.
make your money through that.
Right. But also, it's one of the catch-22s because if you do it too well, Bryan Cranston, then it's just like that's why he's not doing TV. He went to do stage. He's doing films to kind of split it up because the next TV show, everybody's gonna be like Walter White.
Yeah.
Again, locked into that character type
Yeah.
based on
Right.
perception. I also think that, well, for series regulars too, on contract, a majority of the time, you are on the show and you're only allowed to be a guest star on another show.
Right.
But they still have to contact the network.
Right.
Because it can't be anything like the character that you portrayed.
Right.
So it's still a constant battle with your team. Well, with production, like, okay, so can I still do this other role if I'm doing this show? So you're really kind of locked in to a network once you're a series regular.
Yeah, once you sign that contract, like it's a wrap.
Okay.
You stuck with them for however long until. But, you know, that's where as an actor, and you know, same thing with the social media shit, it's like you use that to your advantage to where you can make moves. Like if you become popular on the show, then it's like the show kind of will start to work around you. Because like, okay, you can kill me off the show. Ain't nobody gonna watch this shit though. Because like I'm like, everyone tweets about me, everyone talks about me on the show. I got all these memes, I got all these, you know, whatever.
Jon Snow type shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, people gotta, you know, you look at what happened when they got rid of Kid
They killed Jon Snow. Like, how the fuck you gonna kill
like-
Jon Snow? Then they did, you know what? We gonna bring him back. Shut, everybody shut up.
Calm down. Calm down.
Like, Sack, we was just playing. We was
Watch
just
this
playing.
shit. Twat. Back.
Yeah.
Cool. Just like that. Cool.
Matter of fact, we gonna throw some Starbucks in there too to make y'all happy. You know what I'm saying?
Niggas still ain't lived that down.
That's when you know they were so done. It was that was like senioritis type. Like
It was like,
We don't give a shit.
it went
Yeah.
through so
Fucking
many
right.
departments.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. You went through the script supervisor who's watching the monitor for continuity. And then after that, the director watches the final cut and the editor. And
And the
then
actor is
network,
sitting there with the damn Starbucks. Like, I'm gonna get this shit. I guess not. I'm gonna have some.
it bypassed, and they were just so done.
Well, I guess that was like a framing issue, right? Because I guess depending on how they frame it.
Not even
it could
that. If you
be-
look at the screenshot of the frame, there's no way they could have cut that frame. Had to be cut like it would have been all off. The shit was right in front of her. Like there was no way you could have edited that. You had to go in and digitally remove that from the frame.
That's what they did, I think,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they did.
After it came out,
After
though.
the fact.
Well, you know, then shit.
That shit blew up on social media. Starbucks cup.
Well, it wasn't even a Starbucks cup.
Man.
It was a Starbucks what?
No,
No, it was just a regular ass like catering cup. Like,
But the funny thing about it was
regular ass
Starbucks
catering cup.
capitalized on that though.
Yeah.
Because Starbucks came out with a drink after that.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't stock go up in
Yeah.
Starbucks
Yeah.
after that?
They came out with a drink. Yeah, they came out with a Game of Thrones drink.
What, Daenerys cappuccino? That's what that shit was?
And it
Oh,
wasn't. It wasn't even her drink either.
Or was
Yeah.
it?
It's not.
Yeah.
It was a very.
I don't care.
But it was
We
her
about to
scene.
use this.
Listen, I'm all for that shit, man. It's
Free
like, yo.
sponsoring.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And if I'm the actor, I'm calling
Product
like, yo,
placement.
that's because of me, your stock went up. So I'm gonna need
I mean, my cut.
forever
Right.
in life. If you ain't gonna pay me, it's just unlimited.
I'm gonna need this much next role.
Yeah.
Now, how do y'all prepare for a role? I'm gonna ask you first, Tamara. How do you prepare for a role?
You know that's you know
Let's
that's,
talk about that straddle.
So let's say if you got a day where you got like what? What you say?
Nothing.
You know we gotta play this back, right? She's
know.
She's a guest, all right? Be nice.
Nah, she cool.
No, I'm only thinking about my recent experience because that was really a last minute situation where
Okay.
I finally signed with this manager and literally like probably 4 hours later I got a call that to audition for this, and then 3 days later I was flown out here
Okay.
and then filmed for a month. So I didn't get as much prep time as I normally would have liked. So I had to do things a little different. And I think sometimes for actors, especially because when we get auditions, we're limited on our timing. Sometimes with an audition, we have 24 hours, which is very rough to do. And sometimes we'll have a couple days. So our prep can be a little bit different. But what I typically like to do is I like to read the script as many times as possible. Really
Like the
try to
entire
understand.
script.
If I get the entire script.
Okay.
But most of the time when it's an audition, it's just sides. And sides are typically just a scene or two of mainly what highlights the character's essence. And
Okay.
they just want to see, can you showcase that? Can they believe what you're portraying? So what I typically like to do is I read the script as many times as possible, and then I like to do an analysis on the character, like how am I similar and how am I different from the character? And then I just really go in depth with the backstory and everything, and I really dive in. When I'm rushing, which is typically,
When you got 24 hours.
especially in the Southeast market, where Chris and I primarily get our work from, it's really a rush where it's like 24 to 48 hours, and I have a full-time
Crazy.
job back in Florida too, so like I'm also balancing that. And then you sleep for 8 hours, try to, mainly I'm like
Try,
6.
yeah. Right,
So
right.
like so really in reality I may have 9 hours to myself to study within that time frame, which is a bit unrealistic. So what I do is I read the script and I'm like, okay, then I research the director and the writer and the producer. I see what have they worked on in the past? What similar themes do they do? Like if the writer has done a project that has been within the same genre, then I am familiar with their style. So I'm like, okay, so I kind of have an idea of how they like things played or what themes they like to tend to gravitate towards. That way I know like, okay, are they really witty with their words? Are they bouncing off each other pretty quickly? Or are they like, do they like their moments? Do they take their time?
Right.
Everybody's different. So it's really nice to study people's work, especially when you really have the time. But I like to do a backstory with the character first. And then I also like to do a moment before, like what's occurring with the character before the scene even occurs. So because casting directors get like 1,000 auditions sometimes, and they're also limited on their time too. They also have a job to do to submit it to production for who their top people are. So when their time is limited, they're seeing the same people over and over when they're pressing play, just the first line out. But if you're pressing play and your audition is you're walking into the scene and you're noticing and taking in the environment, you're in a restaurant, you're acknowledging the people next to you, then you look over and then you speak to the person. That's a lot more interesting, you know, because there's you see where that character is. So if I'm rushing, I always make sure I have a moment before.
Okay.
I always try to do that. And then have that relationship with who you're talking to. So again, if I'm rushing and I don't really relate to what the script is how am I fulfilling the obligation to who I'm talking to? And most of the time, majority of the time actually, because I also put actors on tape as well and I coach. And majority of the time, if you can get those things down, you're always guaranteed to get either a callback or really good feedback or you book it. It worked almost every time. So those are rush.
That's a rush, yeah.
Which is a majority.
It's expedited.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris? What's your Zen mode when you gotta get into a role?
I'm a soundtrack dude, so when I get something, I sign a soundtrack to every character I audition for. So like with Bobby, not this Bobby, but with Bobby with Queen of the South, like the thing about him was he was a trap dude. He's from New Orleans, but he was able to skate in and out. Like he could be the trap dude, but then he could go into a business meeting, button up, and you know be on that way. So my playlist was constant rotation between old school, you know, Cash Money for 9-9, obviously. Old school shit, T.I. and Jay-Z. That's all that was on my shit.
No, Juvie?
Yeah, well, no, all that's what I'm saying. That whole thing, like, yeah, like Juvie, Wayne, all of them, Birdman, all of them, like.
Oh, you gonna get shot, huh?
You think you gonna do this thing?
You gonna do a game, huh?
Right. And I forgot Jay-Z did the remix with him when I was downloading this shit. I was like, Jay-Z was on Hot. Oh, that's right, he did the remix. He did the Hot remix, and that shit
What's
sounds
that other
hilarious.
song he was on? I think it was Snoopy or some shit. I don't know, it's on Jay-Z. It's on I'm sorry, go ahead.
Shit, I don't know about that, but yeah, I'll sign a
send it to
soundtrack,
you.
and that typically that will get me in the mood of what I want to do on top of doing all the stuff Tamara was saying. Like, and if I don't get the script, the full script, I get my size, then I just look. Everything is in the text. Everything that needs to be said is in the text. You know, I had to do an audition before we came over here, and you know, we were bouncing ideas off of off each other. And at the end of the day, for me, I sum everything up in something very simple. It's like everybody. To me, everyone on this planet, when you're of the age of being able to communicate, everyone on this planet understands what love and hate is. Those are two constant emotions that at the end of the day, now there's different things underneath the umbrella. Like you may say you hate somebody, but you like really don't hate them. That's just like you're pissed at them or annoyed. But we get the context of, you say I hate this, like, you know, you hate Ari Spears. You know, we get the context of it. You know what I mean? So, you know, we get it, you know, so we understand. So I look at that to start off with. Does this guy love his wife? Does he love his job? Does he love his kids? Does he love where he lives? Does he hate these things? And then I start breaking down the intricacies of how, to what degree does he like these things or not like these things? And then once that's done and I know what I'm saying, then at that point you just go in front of the camera and just do work. And that's essentially what it is for me. The soundtrack kind of helps me stay in the mindset of, you know, what this guy would be listening to, you know, daily, like what's going on. with this cat, and how is he? Like, he's around one way around his girl, he's around one way around his boys, one way around his boss, one way around Teresa, the queen. You know, he acts differently with everybody.
Right.
So it really just, and that's the thing is, you know, that's something that we all do as well. People think it's being fake. I mean, you can tell when somebody's being fake, but we're all, as humans, we have layers.
Right.
So, you know, it's like you guys, when you in the dojo, you act a certain way, but when you go to work, this energy ain't coming out.
Code switching. Hey guys.
I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah. Right.
I just definitely won't have no fucking job.
Now you may be thinking it.
You want to say something
Yeah.
like, man, I'm about to slap this bitch.
Yeah, I mean, jobless.
But, you know, until you could get to the point to where you don't have to do that. And I think that comes with getting on a higher level to where you could do something like Viola Davis said it was important for her to do that scene of How to Get Away with Murder in the first season where she takes a wig off and the makeup off. And she's like, you know, I'm changing the stereotype. She's like, you know, all people are beautiful naturally, but this is what women do when they go home.
Right.
They take, you know, weave out, wigs off, whatever, or their hair down.
Unsnap that, bro.
Yeah, right. And get comfortable.
Let them titties hang.
Yeah,
Let 'em
basically.
hang.
Essentially, at the end of the day, that's what it is. And so you gotta put that honesty out there.
I do want to add to that. There's actually, I do the same thing especially when I get more time. When I actually am on my way to an audition, I'll start playing, because I typically have like an hour drive to the studio I go to go on tape. And I'll typically listen to music that relates to the character. Like Chris was saying, either that the character would listen to or of that time. So if it's a historical piece, like say the Civil Rights era, I'll listen to Sam Cooke. You know, or Nat King Cole, like, and it just puts me in the rhythm of that mood, and even my manner of speaking. No, but even my manner of speaking will change. Like, just the fluidity of it will change based on how they even sound, and it just brings a different vibe. And like, or certain periods of my life where I was like a little more
because the hood came
ratchet.
out. That last audition you did, the hood came out.
You know, just putting on some like ratchet music from back in like early 2000s, you know.
Put some Cardi B
Juvenile.
on.
No, for me it was like Juvenile.
Oh, you was backing that ass up.
Yes,
For the 99 2000.
The funniest shit, I don't care what anybody says, the funniest meme is that Prince Harry meme where he's sitting there in the military base interviewing. And the meme is when dudes hear Cash Money for the 99 2000, the song play, and you look.
I start running.
That is the funniest.
You gotta go.
That really be like that.
classic.
That's like the countdown.
Yeah. It's like,
That's the call sign.
which one I'm gonna get? Which one?
And that's the thing. Like, I don't care who you are as a dude. You don't know how to dance. It doesn't matter if you holding the wall, whatever. But your ass gonna be out there. About
You ain't gotta do nothing. You be watching.
Gotta be out there.
Be like, oh shit.
Now, as actors, right? You know, you make it on a movie with someone that you looked up to your whole life. Are actors allowed to be starstruck?
I think you can if you bring still a sense of professionalism. You know, just for me, I've encountered those moments.
Who?
Kerry Washington, like I said, I've admired for years, way before Scandal. You know, I'd always admired her career, and so like you were mentioning, I did get cut from Confirmation, which was an HBO film that she was in, but I get residual checks from it still.
Right.
God dang.
Yes, but
Give me my motherfucking boy.
My boy.
Give me my boy.
But yeah, I kept it really. When I met her, I was a little bit starstruck, and she was so professional and so kind. She walked into the room because it was myself and two other actors. We were playing students, and it was the very first scene up for the very first day of filming before they had like their month long of filming. We were first. Period.
Right.
And we were in a classroom setting, and she was the professor. She was playing Anita Hill, and the three students, we all had a question to ask in the scene, and they ended up cutting it. But she went, before we were rehearsing, she would walk into the room, and she went to every single individual, shook their hand, and introduced herself as though we didn't know who she was.
Right,
She
right,
still,
right.
She was still introduced herself
Right.
in just the most just glamorous way.
Right.
Just
So that was your one,
fantastic.
just Kerry Washington and.
No.
I say, yeah, you run into a couple people.
No, but she was the first.
Okay.
Felicia Rashad, and then 6 days later, Oprah.
Oprah.
Yeah, she met Oprah. I'm
6
a little
days.
jealous about that one.
Literally less than a week.
So
I could have died
So
and just gone to heaven right
you met
then
like
and there.
top 3 black women. So you met Felicia Rashad and
Denai
Oprah.
Guerrera. Yeah.
So
Denai, I worked in a scene with her
oh shit,
in Walking Dead.
oh, you
Yeah.
be out here.
Yeah.
So
But Felicia Rashad, what was even more nerve-wracking was that I did a scene and it was for David Makes Man, which is on OWN Network. That's how I got a chance to meet Oprah later.
Yeah, because she's producing on that.
Yeah. And it's a funeral scene, and which I'll show you guys later, but it was a funeral scene and my son died from a drug overdose. And it was choreographed, it was performed beautifully. And Felicia Rashad is up on this bit of a balcony, like staircase balcony, and she's watching this funeral scene. It's a dream sequence too.
Okay.
She's watching this funeral scene, but she also has a monologue in the middle of it. Most nerve-wracking thing to perform that scene and to see like your idol up here watching like judgment,
Right.
you know, like literally an angel watching over me, but also judging, you know, like how's this going on there, you know. But it was oh my gosh, it was everything I could have wanted and more, because it was the most powerful scene I'd ever been able to perform on screen. I've done a lot of theater, and I do a lot of characters that have a lot of depth. I love those type of characters, but I've never been able to showcase that on TV or film. So to have that opportunity was really an honor, and I'd have to say one of my most proudest works for that. But to have her right there,
something different.
oh yeah, absolutely. And she told me, she approached me after, and she said I did a really nice job. And I was like, okay. Oh yeah, I practically died that day. And then I was revived and then died again after I met Oprah. So for Oprah,
So what was Oprah?
yes, so Oprah came on set. And she was conducting her interviews with the main cast members. And I shot 2 episodes of David Makes Man, and this was my final day on set. So she was doing her interviews, and then I would run off to go shoot, which was behind the area where she was doing the interviews. Then I'd go back and I'd watch. And I promise you, when Oprah is around, everybody goes quiet.
Yeah.
She just has, and
that money.
Felicia,
Right.
no, it's just
That
this
guap.
sense of power and respect. This queen royalty. You know,
Stop
both.
playing. You know, Oprah from the shot. You better stop playing.
Yeah,
No,
Shot Town.
but Oprah and Felicia both had this essence about just a high level of respect, you know, but it was just different entities, and it was just phenomenal to be around both of them. It was incredible. But for Oprah, she was doing her interviews, I was doing my scene, and I walked by and I heard she was done with the interviews, but she was still going to watch the scene that I was doing. But I wasn't really involved. I was like off to the side. So it wasn't like the other day with the funeral. That was an extreme scene. But I'd heard that she had watched the dailies, so she had already seen the funeral scene at that point. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder what she thought.
Right.
So I'm walking by and I see Oprah in an SUV and the window's down and there's a security guard right in front of her. I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna make my beat. Like, this is not an everyday chip.
Right.
I walked straight up to the car and I leaned my hand over and I said, Miss Winfrey, hi. She was on her phone typing. I said, Miss Winfrey, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming. And she looked up, she's like, oh, I know who you are. And she took off her seatbelt. She opened the door. She gave me the biggest hug. And I have never said this, and I didn't realize it until after that moment. But when she hugged me, it felt like my late grandmother hugging me. And I've never felt that way about anybody. But it was just the warmest, compassionate hug and just presence. And she said, no, beautiful work. I know who you are. And I just thanked her for coming because her mom had just passed away around Thanksgiving 2018. And we did not think that she would make it because we'd always knew that she was going to visit at some point, but we didn't know after her mom passed. So I thanked her for coming, and she thanked me for the condolences, and then we had to split up. And she watched the scene and she loved it. But yeah, she was amazing. Amazing to me.
Man, see, I can't beat Oprah.
Yeah, about to say, can you be Oprah, my nigga?
I can't beat her. If I met her, I'd shoot my shot. Be like, yo, Steph, you need a young man in your life. Steph ain't cutting it no more.
You got to go like Jesus or something like
Yeah,
that. Like
nah, I haven't.
Morgan
I
Freeman, Denzel.
haven't done that. Work wise, that's the thing. It's more athletes for me. When I see actors, I'm not really like. Obviously, if I got to
Is
work
it
with
like
Denzel
like
or-
you feel like you better than them or
No.
like,
At the end of the day, they are like on set. They are coworkers. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's
Yeah.
like that's the professionalism she's talking about. Now, if I see you outside of that, then that's a different story. It's like
I feel like that with podcasts. I'm like, I ain't fucking with you.
Yeah,
Nah,
no,
I'm
not
me.
at all.
angry,
But I've also
Let me
not
be
been in
angry.
that position. You know what I'm saying? I've not been in that position. Now, the Image Awards, when I went to the NAACP Image Awards, that probably was the energy was different. It wasn't starstruck, but it was different. To sit there and talk to Tracy Ellis Ross, you know, Susie Kelechi watching and
Tracy Ellis. Oh my god.
dude.
Was that when you seen Homegirl?
Susie
from
Kelechi
Empire?
watching? Taraji, yeah. Anyway.
No, the other girl. Nah,
Who?
light skin.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that red carpet.
Okay.
Grace. Grace Byers.
What's going on?
Grace Byers, yeah. That's what I was saying.
double take?
I will say this though. I will say this. It's, for me, it's more about meeting. I become fans of actors that I meet that I respect their work and they're mad cool. Like Milo Ventimiglia was probably one of the coolest dudes I met from Heroes and This Is
Peter
Us.
Petrelli.
Yes.
Oh,
And This
okay.
Is Us.
Yeah.
I was on the red carpet. That's who was standing next to me on the
Yeah,
red
yeah.
carpet. We sitting there chopping it up, man. I was like, yo, congrats on This Is Us, man. You know, I was a big fan of Heroes, blah, blah. Mad chill. I see why he works. Just real chill. Nothing really fazed him. He was sitting there and it was great. And then, of course, I had to do the double take. But if you notice, if you watch, I'm trying to put you on blast, Milo. Sorry. If you look at it, he peeped over a little bit too. He was,
You know what I mean?
hey, Grace is on point. But I think as far as like sheer size, and I've said this before, brief encounter with The Rock. So, you know, you better be glad that we ain't that tight, 'cause I would have called him on your ass.
Yo, that's one person I love.
He came to that.
If you love him, why you kill his dad?
He came to the Image Award, and this was before.
Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Right. Ricky Bobby. This was before. I think this is 2016, so he might have been shooting
Jumanji, you're probably right.
Fast. This is like he was a little bit slimmer. He wasn't as big.
When the fuck has he never been big? All right, I'm sorry.
Well,
go
he-
ahead.
I mean,
this is your story. I'm sorry.
Right.
Go
He's
ahead.
not like he is now for this Black Adam shit.
He
Right.
was still
Yeah.
doing ballers.
Yeah, so he was still sizable. And here's the thing, man. Like, you know, I'm at most a solid, 6'1".
Right.
This dude, people forget how big The
He's
Rock
like
is. Like
6'4",
he's like,
6'5".
No, he's 6'6".
6'6"?
Yeah, The Rock is
6'6".
6'6". And when
Michael
I say
Jordan? This nigga.
when I say this dude is every bit of like 270, 280, it's no bullshit. When he
Nah,
came up,
You
like,
gotta you
as he
you gotta
started
shoot him.
walking, as he started walking, like he came into the event, and I was talking to Michael T. Williamson, who Bubba Gump. That's what everybody knows.
Oh,
him
yeah,
from.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah.
OG acted like dope, and we were chopping it up.
You raggedy bitch.
Right. And he Yo. Y'all boys need help, man.
That's the only thing I know from you, raggedy bitch.
Oh my god. That shit. Yeah, he's been in a lot of shit too. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, he has been in a lot of
He
shit.
was in Fences too.
right, yeah.
He was in Con Air too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he was in
Yeah,
Con Air.
he
Yeah,
was.
he was dude that need the
Waiting to exhale.
insulin.
Yeah.
Yep. OG dude, and he got some size on him too, but Rock starts walking over, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, the Rock is here!" Blah blah blah. So I'm looking, I'm like, "This guy's not gonna." But he starts walking in our direction.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, I'm about to interest. He got to come past me." So I'm gonna stand right here. He walks, and as he walks over, I've met Magic Johnson before, who's like 6'7", 6'8", but he's not as big. So he was tall, but he was like, all right. As the Rock comes over, it was almost like a damn eclipse, like the lights got. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Oh my god.
And he
Dim the
sticks,
lights up
and
and shit.
he just sticking his hand out to shake everybody's hand. He's like, "Hey, I'm like, hey, congrats on everything, Rock." He's like, "Yeah." And when he shook my hand, and he said, like sticking hand out to
honest.
shake, his fingers was like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
like grab my
That nigga
forearm.
shook you.
Yeah. I thought he was gonna pull my damn arm off. I was like, "Yo, I'm not fucking with this dude ever in life."
You gotta kick him in the kneecap.
Yeah, but that's the
Yeah.
thing is like you see them, but that's the testament to. It's the same thing we say about athletes. People don't realize how big these dudes are because he play ball, he play football,
Yeah.
and the rest of so people don't realize how big these dudes actually are.
Yeah, Domino didn't know how tall fucking J. Cole was.
Yeah, we saw that. I said the same thing though.
I thought J. Cole was all of like 6'1", 6'2",
No.
but when he hugging LeBron, he like
Face to face.
I'm like,
Yeah, well, he played ball. Like,
Yeah,
No, he played.
like I thought, like he could have. I mean, maybe not go
Listen,
pro.
I
but
understand, but it's like rare for rappers to be that
Right.
tall. We used to 5'8", 5'9".
Game's
Like,
tall.
How
Game's
tall
pretty
is 2
tall.
Chainz?
like
Yeah, he gotta be pretty tall, too,
6'5",
yeah, 'cause he
6'4",
played ball,
something
too.
like that. I know Method Man's tall.
Method Man's
I
like
know
6'4".
fucking 2 Chainz is tall,
Yeah.
but it's like we used to 5'7", 5'8".
Look
rap.
like Plies.
Not about-
we used to Mob Deep niggas where it's like, yo,
CeeLo.
these niggas talk about all this gun busting and killing the whole hood, but they 5'5".
Yeah, like
Right.
Styles P.
Yeah, like yeah. But
Man,
Styles
listen.
P will stab you.
Yeah.
Somebody got to poke him.
Right. Quick shank, real quick. No, these guys are pretty big, but that's also the hard part for the ladies because when you're casting a lead man, they want to cast a big dude. So now you have this problem of we can't cast an actress who's under 5'8" because that shit's gonna be like this.
Right.
So we got to figure out how to do that. So it becomes a thing of that plays a part in the casting as
Can't
well.
just use an Apple box like Tom Cruise.
You can't. Well, here's the thing.
You
They
need to
used
be
do that.
you need to be Tom Cruise status.
Right,
To be
yeah.
acceptable.
Because he used to do that with Nicole, him and Nicole Kidman when they did Eyes Wide Shut. He had to
Stand
stand
on
up.
the
She's
apple
like
box,
every
yeah.
bit of 5'10".
Yeah.
She's like model status.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to. But again, you got to be Tom Cruise status. You know what I'm saying?
At the end of our auditions, we do a slate, and typically a slate is stating our name or what agency we're with, but we also state our height.
yeah.
That way they know. And then
And
they'll
don't bullshit
zoom in
that.
and zoom out.
Because they will
Yeah, because you get on
they'll
set.
measure your ass.
Motherfucker, you told me you was 6'8" and get your short ass out. They will not play. They'll not play no games, man. They will not play no games. And I'm glad because on Conjuring, the lead actor, the lead kid actor that I was opposite of, they were very specific when I did that audition. They was like, please do not lie about your height because you're going to be in the scene opposite. And I'm like, yeah, this motherfucker. And he's lanky though. He's every bit of 6'2". Like when I stood next to him, I was like, yo, you skinny, lanky
Is
motherfucker.
that,
Yeah.
is that like a framing issue type of thing? Is that what? Yeah. Okay.
Because
It
if they're
can
shooting
cause a
profile
lot.
shots, it just your eye is not going to adjust to it. So if you guys ever watch and what they'll do is if that becomes an issue with the actors, they always shoot it in a close up frame because you can't really tell the height
How
at that
tall you
point.
are.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But when you widen it out, you're gonna look at that shit and be like, something is off. Like something
That was
is
like
right.
with
The Rock and Vin Diesel?
no
Oh, okay.
Chadwick Boseman and fucking in Baku. Where it was
Baku?
like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
like
he was
yo
a big
they
motherfucker.
It's
shot
different.
up because
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman's 5.
Bane.
It's
Bane-
also a power thing too.
Right.
Yeah.
It establishes the metaphor of who has the power. So it also it brings a lot to the energy with the framing with
Right.
how they angle the camera for
Right.
that. They could really dramatize it to show
Right.
that
Right.
a sense of dominance.
Right.
So that's also
that whole
a factor.
Tom Hardy shit. People don't realize that Tom
like
Hardy is
short
not
as fuck.
tall.
Yeah,
he's
he's
not
short
at
as
all.
fuck.
Yeah, if you go behind the scenes, they had to give him lifts in his boots, and every time they shot Tom Hardy as Bane, camera was down here, and every time they shot Christian Bale, it was because Christian Bale's 6'2".
Yeah.
But when you see them on set together, it Bane
look
gonna get his
equal.
ass whooped.
Bane
You know what I'm saying?
is Bane is Bane.
Yeah. You gotta be a big dude. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now's not the time for field doctor. That comes later.
Oh my God.
Molded by it.
Goodbye.
I love that
That
song.
voice.
That shit. Did you hear the original of how his voice was supposed to sound originally?
No.
Oh my God.
Horrible. Is it on YouTube?
I think so. You have to look it up. That shit was. I know it was on behind the
tell me
scenes. I'm
that.
probably sure it's on there. That shit was
Bad.
bad.
That's what they
He sounded like a pedophile, like a rapist. It was high pitched. It was like, what is this?
Hey, Batman!
Yeah, it was like, it sounded like the Riddler and shit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh my God. How y'all feeling about what's his name? Robert Pattinson.
I don't hate the casting yet, but obviously it's one of them things. It's like
Well, you saw Jonah Hill backed out.
Yeah, well, he was asking for money.
yeah, he's asking so much money. I
10
thought
million.
yeah.
But yeah, if he was playing the
Perhaps.
Penguin, that would have been a physical transformation for him to get bigger.
bigger,
again.
yeah.
Okay, and I was saying I don't know if he want to do that because
Right.
he spent so much time losing all that
Losing
weight,
weight,
so I don't know if
yeah.
he want to do that.
Because he used to be, hit
he's-
that 40-year-old
yeah,
virgin. He
he's
was
super
big.
Even
Super
before
bad, yeah.
before that, fucking
Super bad.
Super bad.
even what the fuck is it? Accepted.
Oh yeah.
He was an Accepted. He was way
huge,
big in
yeah.
that.
Are you trying to listen to it?
Yeah. I'm trying to-
Where's Bane? I don't know who this shit.
Did you type it like the original voice?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Undubbed.
I don't think that's it.
yeah, that was the movie, but
No, that's not it.
All right, whatever.
That's not it.
But
I'll
yeah,
send it to you. I'll find
yeah, I
out.
was gonna say. I mean, but they have a lot of good actors in that though. So I have like
Right.
confidence if that's the kind of quality of actor they're looking for, that maybe he might have showed them something that might, not be horrible. But you never fucking know.
I think Warner Brothers and DC, this is their time now. For
Hopefully.
10 years, they couldn't fuck with Marvel. And now that Marvel's going through the rebuilding stage, this is their time to strike. If they don't do it now, they'll never catch Marvel.
Yeah.
Never.
I mean,
because Marvel's rebuilding.
They gotta. So Joker gave him some good momentum. Obviously, it's not the whole connected universe shit.
Oh my god!
Right.
But
I'm
they got
just so
that.
in love with Joker. Joaquin Phoenix. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You wish you was Ozzy.
He deserved Best Actor. He was just so brilliant.
He was
Because
dope.
seriously,
No, that
like,
was a great fucking movie.
because I really had. I think Joaquin Phoenix is a phenomenal actor in general, but after Heath Ledger, it's like, how are you gonna?
That was the
how you
concern
touch?
everybody had.
But
Oh, yeah.
I love that he made it his own, and
That
it
was
was
the concern
still
everybody had.
just as great.
Yeah, and they didn't. I mean, they didn't even
It's
try to like go that kind of
That
route.
route.
So I think, which is
Exactly.
important, they decided to try to go a completely different way because
Yeah.
I think they kind of knew like if they tried to do something that was too similar to that,
Yeah, it wasn't gonna work.
people weren't gonna fuck with it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah. And that's always hard when you're following up a performance like that. Like
Yeah.
Dom, you asked about dream roles. Is like for me, I would love to play Malcolm X, but it's like, how the fuck do you? It's Denzel.
Yeah.
Like, there's no possible way.
I
That
mean,
shit is gonna be
they had
that
somebody
good.
play Martin Luther. It was like subpar. It was alright.
They're
So I-
actually Regina King is actually
the one
her
night in
directorial
Miami.
debut. Yeah, and
She's
they have
doing.
They're gonna have all those guys, Malcolm X, Martin, all those guys. She's
Malcolm
directing.
X is an actor from England.
Yeah, of course.
How do you feel about that?
We
All
talk
right,
about
so
this
I'm-
often.
I'm getting off here now.
We talk about this often.
It's.
I mean,
look,
can y'all? Well, before you say that, can you speak to it, without getting in trouble?
Oh yeah, no.
Okay, cool. All right,
Yeah, yeah.
all right, go ahead, nigga.
Well, it's not like
don't
he's
give
the
a
only
shit.
person. It's like it's the same way. What
Sam
was it?
Jackson said
I
something
think
about it with Get
it's
Out.
a conversation
No,
in
that's
industry
different.
right now.
Chris Greene and Sam
Wasn't that
Jackson's
Spike
two
Lee too?
different niggas. I'm just
true,
saying.
but-
Didn't Spike Lee say something like that?
Spike Lee said something too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about it is, here's my situation. It's like we already have this contention with our white counterparts, right?
Mhm.
For me, and Queen of Slim is a good example. I like Daniel Kaluuya. I like what's her name? Journey. Was it Journey?
Journey.
The
No.
new actress.
No, it's
No,
not her name.
some of the J. I can't. But she was dope in it. Both from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Damn.
Yeah, she got a crazy
Her
accent.
accent is
Bug,
nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts.
But my
nigga.
thing is, and again, it's no shade to Lena or whatever. At the end of the day, she cast whoever she thought was the best part, and she wanted to work
Jodie
with
Turner
Daniel.
Smith.
Jodie Turner Smith, yeah, she was solid.
Thank you.
But my thing is, you're talking about the political statement you're making in the film is about black men in particular,
African Americans.
In America. Yeah.
struggling, right? African Americans struggling in the South, dealing with the police brutality, dealing with the fact of how black women view them and how they have to live to that standard and treat them like the queens and that whole thing.
Mm.
And it's like you couldn't cast a brother from the South, and even if you couldn't do that, cast a dude from America. Like
Mm.
he's gonna have more relation to it than Daniel Kaluuya is.
But it was a thing of what I heard where it was like right place, right time because Daniel Kaluuya caught
Right, and he's a producer on
Lena
it too.
Waithe at a party where it
Right.
was like, yeah, I would love to
Right.
read the script and
Right.
be this person.
Right, and listen, when you got pulled like that, you talking about Daniel Kaluuya. It's like, okay, you done got your nom, Get Out
Get
is
Out, yeah.
iconic.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, and here's the thing, I'm not gonna sit here and front like I'm not that dude. Like if I got to a point to where I was getting notoriety and I'm in the room with Denzel, hey Denzel, check this out. I'm trying to work together. I'm gonna shoot my shot. I don't give a damn.
Hey, yo, check this out.
All right, boom.
Yeah.
So listen, I got
We
this
both
thing.
from Mount
Listen,
Vernon, like
listen,
get it
right?
popping. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I'm gonna do that, but my whole thing also too is it just to me it's you can't put the argument out there that our stories are not being told when you're also still altering them. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole David Oyelowo with the Martin Luther King, and that shit pissed a lot of people off with Selma because it's like this dude wasn't even in the country.
Right, yeah.
Like, he
and he's
was-
from like South Africa.
He's not from the U.S.
He's not from the US, but he's from
You got the laptop, nigga.
He gotta be African with a name like Oyelowo. He's gotta be like African.
Right.
I thought he was from where
I think he's from London, actually.
I thought,
Probably.
I thought it was South Africa.
Oh yeah,
where he
you're
was
right.
from.
Wasn't he in Planet of the Apes?
David Oyelowo.
New Zealand.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just making
yeah.
up names.
But I mean, that's my thing. And listen, at the end of the day, yo, if you're the best actor for the job,
Was
that's
that Selma,
ultimately
right?
what it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
ultimately what it is. But again, it's to me, it's like the whole thing I brought up with the Nina Simone story with Zoe Saldana. Like Zoe Saldana, I rock with her.
Yo, don't bring that up.
But right?
Relax.
It's like, here's the thing though, you can't really put that on her because at the end of the day, any woman of color is going to jump at the opportunity to play Nina Simone. Period.
With prosthetics?
That's the producer though. But I will put that. Wait.
Nigga, that was
I will
wild.
put that. I will put that on her. Like when the prosthetic came out, it's like Zoe could have been like. I know, again, when we weren't there, I don't know the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But when it comes time, it's like, oh, we got to darken your skin. At that point, as a creative, you got to go, yo, check this out.
He's from
I
the
can't rock
UK.
with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't rock with that. You know what I'm saying? So it's to me like, again, even though this is not a UK thing, Chadwick. All right, I'll give you James Brown. I'll give you
That nigga's played everybody.
Jackie Robinson. Thurgood Marshall, get the fuck out of here.
Thurgood
He's
Marshall.
He lighter than me with wavy
Thurgood
hair.
Marshall, Jackie Robinson,
Yeah.
everybody. Like,
I'm like, yo, come on, man. Are you serious right
but
now?
is that nitpicking at this point? Because we want these black stories told, but then are we nitpicking as that where they come from, what region they come from? But if it's they're black, they're black.
I mean, it's all about the connecting, like Tamara spoke to. It's like if you are an actor.
But we fought this long to get these movies or these stories told.
Right.
But are we nitpicking like, oh, he ain't from the U.S. though?
Right. But my thing is, like I said, it's one of those things to where, as every actor and every role they play, I don't care what they tell you on any level, they bullshit if they're not. If they play it and they connect, like when they go, oh my God, that was like such a real performance.
Yeah.
Every actor imprints part of themselves on every role they do.
Right.
Because you got to find the connection, right? So you can't tell me that you can connect to being afraid to be a hashtag leaving your house. Like people get it twisted. Like whether I'm in Florida or Georgia, you got to understand.
Still black.
Orlando and Miami is their own separate entities, but Florida's still south.
Still nigga.
You go an hour past Orlando up to Titusville on Christmas, and people in Orlando know what I'm talking about, Confederate flags.
Still nigga.
What you doing over here, boy? That whole thing. Georgia, come on, man, it's fucking Georgia.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry, if anything, he's built it on Confederate land. It's like Atlanta's its own thing, but Georgia still got the racism. So it's like every day I leave the house, I get pulled over by, a sheriff or something like that. I'm getting my phone ready. I'm like, does David Oyelowo have to do this shit when he's at home in the UK?
Yeah.
That, what I'm saying? That right there makes a world of difference.
Yeah, they don't even
related to the
they don't
character.
even carry pistols. They probably just beat you with
Right.
a club or some
Right,
shit.
right. You know what I'm saying?
I'll shank your ass.
Like
real
you talk
quick.
about, a lot of people move over to the UK. A lot of celebrities, like Nev Campbell talked about this. They have a paparazzi law. Over there in the UK, paparazzi can't be within 500 feet of you. And if you have a kid with you, they can't shoot any pictures of you at all. Go to LA with that shit. They're going to be right up in your face.
Right?
Is that because of Diana? Is that why they did that?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that. They don't have that over here.
I like that second one.
I don't know. You just start.
Nah, still nigga.
Right. Right.
House nigga.
Basically.
Fuck with me.
Look at what they did to OJ. That's exactly what I'm talking about. OJ was loved by everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And he hacked up some white people. And you saw what happened. You saw what
I
happened.
mean, I ain't saying he should have did it, but I understand.
What?
My nigga.
Oh.
Nigga, no. No.
It's an old Chris Rock joke.
I'm
No,
still.
man.
No, just. No.
They had a weird relationship from the jump.
Yeah, they did.
Like he used to watch her
30
when
for
she used
30.
to just fuck other people. He used to be like,
OJ was on that shit. Yeah. Did you not watch that
Word?
documentary?
yeah.
Oh, you got to
I
watch
didn't, know, I didn't know that.
He used to
it.
watch.
America.
He was a
Yeah.
cock. He was dark.
Because they were
Wow.
Yo, shit. Oh,
It's
Oh,
cuckolding.
yeah. Oh man.
Hey man.
OJ the Juice Man.
So, yeah.
So how you feel about Cuba Gooding Jr.?
What? Wait, what's going on with
How
him?
you feel about well Cuba Gooding Jr. is
No, he got in
shit,
trouble.
right?
Yeah, right. Cuba's always been a little...
It come to find out, okay, because I be watching Vlad TV, right? And Michael J.
Oh,
White said he got a
Why,
nickname.
wait, look. Don, I'm with Don on that one. Why are you watching Vlad TV?
Because Vlad has good interviews.
No, the fuck he
does.
don't.
Yes, he does.
Vlad
'Cause
ain't
you don't
doing.
watch.
Vlad ain't doing nothing I can't do.
You ain't do it yet.
Motherfucker, I need money. Invest in me, Chris. Shit.
Hey,
The same shit.
Hey, get on Twitter.
Yep.
Tell everybody that follow the dojo, Chris Greene need to be in Lena Wave's next thing. I got you.
Nah, I was trying not to watch
that
it.
shit every day.
I was trying not to watch it, but fucking Michael J. White was up there. God damn, I gotta watch it now.
Oh, hold on, wait. Before we get into that, I just want to go around the room. I appreciate you brothers for supporting. Hesh, I appreciate you.
No, thank
Don, I appreciate you. Bobby, I'm not fucking with you because you still ain't used me in your memes.
I can't find
I got enough content at this point. Man,
I tried to. You know how many episodes I try to scroll to get your little part?
Oh, damn. Damn. He's trying to throw shade. Wow.
I tried, man. I ain't trying to be funny.
Don't you eat none of that pepperoni pizza.
Yo, nah, 5 minutes.
I just tried to.
Nah, you gotta box that man up.
Outside is right outside, nigga.
Right outside. Right in the snow.
Damn.
I don't want to watch Birth of the Nation. I don't feel like crying. So come on, man.
You can't. You got to use something.
Why you gonna
else.
make me watch that?
You got to use something else.
Nah, y'all gotta fight like fucking Mark Wahlberg and what's his face? What's his name?
Oh, and Four Brothers?
Yeah. What's his name? To your for edge. What's his name?
To your toe, edge of your foot?
Yeah. Y'all gotta fight like them.
Over the cold.
In the snow.
Yeah.
And drill out a little hole in the ice.
Yeah, yo, right there in the fucking woods. You gotta right there. Whoever lose, come back in the dojo. You the host now.
Shit, I ain't got enough AKs for that.
Yeah, man, this Bishop and Q.
Yeah, for real.
What's going on?
Oh, shit.
Let me fall, Bob.
Oh my god,
Shit, nigga.
that's just hilarious.
Oh man.
That nigga's stupid.
Y'all niggas is dumb, yo.
But one question I got, right? So y'all are, more so in Hollywood than we ever could be. So now, how important is it to play the game, quote unquote?
Which
Like the game of, I guess, like just massaging relationships and just being like just overly nice or just not being fake, but
Maybe not.
code switching.
not code switching, but just I want to. Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
I think it's important to be yourself because
But does that
It's-
bode well for you in the end?
I think so because I know who
Speak
I
for
am
yourself.
and who
Yeah.
I stand by. But I mean, that's just always been my personality.
Mm.
You know, I don't know.
But if you, like-
but I've also grown up with moving and meeting people.
Right.
Just growing up in that military life,
Mm.
being a military dependent, just always building relationships fairly quickly. So maybe that's what's also kind of helped with my career. But relationships is very important. I mean, like I said, for me getting on this project, it was due to my manager because he had a client who
Right.
Nate is his client, and Nate was producing this film.
Shit, you bullshit.
And then he called me. He called me on it. So it was our relationship.
Mm.
And then I also told Chris to see if he wanted to have a meeting with the same manager, and he met out with him. So
Okay.
it all connects in the end of the day. But staying true to you. But if you don't vibe with them, then don't bother with them.
Does voicing your opinion, I guess, bode well with certain companies or
I think it depends on
power
who
players?
I think it depends on who you vocalize to.
Okay.
Because I have voiced concerns before, being a Black woman with natural hair.
Mm.
It varies.
It varies.
It varies, especially when I get in the hair department. I'm really fortunate that it has not necessarily become an issue, but there have been certain instances where it's like, oh my gosh, what do we do? And it's like, why am I a problem?
But would there ever be a time where you compromise your morals for a role?
For a role, no.
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 I'm on that 100%. Never.
Yeah, no.
Will they ask you to act outside your bounds or to do something that you're just not comfortable with? But
That's a little
it's a
different.
big opportunity and a big check attached to it, but it's just not you.
If it
I think that's-
If it can somewhat change your life where it's just like, we need you to do this, but
I think you have to, in a way, pick your battles.
Right.
Like I've
Okay.
been in a situation where I'm a very strong supporter of Screen Actors Guild, of our union. Very strong supporter of it. I know my rights as a union member. But I also recognize projects that I'm working on, and I see the people involved, and I think it just varies sometimes. It's like, am I gonna put that aside for a second because I believe in what I'm doing and have faith and good word on it, but also need to make it clear where I stand. That way it's known that I'm not to be messed with, and this will not happen again. I've had to tell my team, because I felt uncomfortable with certain things, I let them know this will not occur again. And I was very straightforward, but very professional. And I think being, first off, a woman, second, a woman of color.
Took
there's
her
a
belt off and shit.
What'd you say?
You You took your belt off.
Well, like there's a stereotype that I could come off as a bitch or oh, crazy black woman. Like, no, I'm standing by my morals and my rights, but I'm letting you know that this is not okay by any means, and I make that clear. I say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and because you are my team and I trust you all, I'm going to go ahead and move forward with what you're advising because I trust you, but let it be known this is not okay and this will not happen again. Or else, like what Chris said, then you need to question what you need to do to move forward. Is this really the team that you wanted? Because at the end of the day, your team is supposed to fight for you. And they need to be in line with your morals to see if they can fight and bat for you. But if they're not, then that's not okay.
And I think it depends on.
Compromise.
I think it depends on what it is too. Like you were mentioning, if it's a life-changing situation with a role, and I think that's different than compromising your morals. Being pushed outside of your comfort zone as an actor is something we do all the time.
Right.
So we got to be comfortable with. Okay, for a lot of black dudes, obviously, it's doing the gay scenes. It's like it's like, all right, I'm not at a point in my life where I'm comfortable doing no Brokeback Mountain type stuff. I'm just not. And it's like, and there's so many gay actors out there now that are getting shine. It's like, go ahead and put them on. But if it's like a comedic type, like Modern Family.
Okay.
So Jesse Tyler Ferguson, who's the bigger guy in the gay couple.
Yeah, he's not actually.
He's straight, but he gets mad love from the gay community because he does such a good job, and he puts some respect on it.
I mean, Will Smith kissed a guy early in his career, but nobody ever mentioned it.
He actually didn't kiss him.
I mean, they moved the camera angles to make it seem like
But he regrets not doing that.
Affectionate, yeah.
They actually didn't kiss.
No, they actually didn't kiss, but they made it seem like he had an
Denzel. The
affectionate
story is
role.
Denzel told him not to do that because his career would be this was way early in his career.
Didn't Tay Diggs do that at one? Tay Diggs.
But
I don't know.
Here's the thing.
I might be making shit up. I don't know.
I mean, if he did, here's the thing. Pre-pause. This is Tay Diggs. This dude is chocolate. It don't matter what he do. women is not going. He forever gonna win. So
I don't know because if Michael B. Jordan did the same thing,
but that's you talking about Michael B. Jordan, not Tay Diggs. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, sex symbol.
You think that's gonna stop these women from loving Michael B. Jordan if he kiss a dude?
Yeah, 100%. Perception is everything.
I kind of agree with that.
I don't think it's gonna stop. I don't think it's gonna stop these women.
It depends on the level.
Think like, oh, he's so sensitive.
It depends on the level.
That's it. They be like,
oh, he acted the shit out that role.
Exactly.
Damn. It depends on the level, but that goes back to the morals. Like for me, a lot of influence on the roles that I play. My daughter is the first thing that comes into play. Okay. Because these kids have access to YouTube and internet and blah blah blah. At this age, her being 9, I can't afford to have her look at something like she hasn't. As much as I want her to, she hasn't seen Birth of a Nation yet. Like I probably won't show her that until she's like 12, so she can get an understanding of the history. But to me, it's a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's too much too early.
Loving, I'll probably maybe show her next year because that I think is a different story in history that she needs to watch. But it's a lot of that is a big influence on what I do, and I'm comfortable knowing that at the end of the day, this is history that's been told on camera that people can see for generations. Excuse me. So I look at that stuff, but there's certain things like before, way back in the day, like when I first started, I did one of these reenactment shows, and I played a rapist. I probably wouldn't do that.
Sure, it wasn't SVU.
I'm pretty positive. I wish it was.
Well, but what if the SVU role is for you to play rapist again? You ain't gonna do it.
But it wouldn't be to that. Like the way that they showed some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't be like me choking women and Nah, like it wouldn't be that. It'd be the after effect of, we saw the surveillance camera, you grab her and then they cut away and like that aspect.
Ice-T come out of nowhere.
Yeah, right. Nah, that ain't gonna happen. That's too much light skin on screen.
And again, it goes back to the point of researching the director and the writer to see how the style is on the content. It varies because it could be very different.
Okay. Now, Tamara, as a woman, has anyone ever come at you sideways? And when I say sideways, I mean like Weinstein sideways.
More so through action, to a certain extent. Like they'll reach in for a hug or like kiss me on the cheek, and it's like a little
Little-
much.
Yeah.
And then, or like
Hot
if we're
breath
going
on the
in
neck.
for,
Just like-
but like if we're going in for a group
It's that,
photo, and it's
yeah.
like, oh my goodness,
It's that Omari
you
Hardwick
in
kiss
that
Beyonce
dress
twice.
right now.
Nah.
kind of commentary, yeah.
Jay-Z shot goes.
Now, how do you respond to that, or how do you and
It's it's so
you and your
it's-
team respond to that?
I didn't feel, and I think back on it now, and I probably should have said something. And like I view other stories and I listen, and it's like, oh girl, well you should have. But when you're in that situation, there was even a study done about it. Like when you're physically in that situation, you
freeze
just process differently.
Yeah,
Like you think about it, like is this really occurring? Like is this really happening? And it's just different. And then again, it's like my job may be at risk if I say something. Am I taking it overboard? Is it too much? Maybe I'm overthinking this.
And that's to the point of like, how do you massage these relationships if that was to occur to you?
Exactly. The movie Bombshell, I think, described it beautifully. They did a phenomenal job with that. But yeah, it's I would say for me, the person who made me a bit uncomfortable, I never reached out on a personal level or anything. I reached out to other people who were professional and never made me feel uncomfortable in any way.
Now, were there rumors about that person before, or
Not that I had ever heard of. No, but again, I think men in the industry who are older and have been in it for a while, like it's just regular for them.
it's just
They
common
don't view
practice?
it as a problem. They just view it as, oh, I was just, it's nothing. But if you're hugging me a little too low, or you're whispering things like, man, you in that dress right now, like that, that's not comfortable.
Damn.
In front of my family too.
Yeah.
Like,
What the?
I mean,
Right?
yeah.
That bold?
but it's like, the I guess the white men with power and the white men with the money is just like, I can do this and nothing's gonna happen. Now, Chris, I can ask you the same thing. I don't know if it's happened to you, but I can ask you the same thing.
It's never happened to me. It's never happened to me by a female. So it has happened to me by a male.
Okay.
But I check. It's easier to check that shit when it's a guy, because it's like,
Ask Terry Crews.
Oh.
Come on, man.
wow.
He did what he could.
I mean,
Sometimes
now,
was nothing.
it's a
You got that man job for the joint, nigga.
Listen, man.
And he did it in front of his wife too. So I think he was
That's
more
the
shocked.
thing.
it was
than
under the
everything.
table, but
That's the thing,
okay.
man.
So Chris, as a grown man, right? So if you were, I don't even know if I could ask. 'Cause I don't want to get Chris in trouble because I fuck with Chris.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So
Shit, you can ask it. I'll just be like, plead the fifth.
so if you were in Terry Cruz's situation with that happening, what would you have done?
I think that so from what I understand, I think the situation was his wife asked him not to do something. Like he was supposedly about to steal off on dude. And his wife, you in a room full of white execs, you gonna be that black dude, you gonna be that nigga.
But it's a difference. If it's a difference between being that black guy and being a man at that point.
I think for me, I and this is just me again. I'm not Terry Crews, but I think being in that position, I just couldn't allow that to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like there's got to be a reaction to that.
But this,
because
but with this being your bread and butter, and this is how you eat, and if it's acting is your whole life, but if you know this is gonna get swept under the rug, or it's just not that big of a deal, and it happens all the time in Hollywood, but this is how you, your daughter, this is how everybody eats that's connected to you. What do you actually do? Do you think with a level head, or do you think as first reaction?
I think the difference with me is that, and again, this is, I feel like not living in LA. I don't get caught up in that bullshit. Like for me, it's not the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always another job. I may be limited on my options. There's always another job. You cannot stop me from being an actor.
Right.
I tell people that all the time. You cannot stop me from being an actor. You can only stop me from showcasing it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
But
it.
you won't go on Instagram, but it's cool.
No, but I was gonna say, but now with different mediums, you really can't stop me from showcasing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can fuck up my bag a little bit,
Uh-huh.
but you cannot. I'm always gonna be an actor.
Mm.
So I think in that situation, man, you know, would I have fought dude out there in the open public? Nah, but
You can at least check them though.
please believe, and please believe I'm waiting for you outside.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? When you get outside, it's like, oh, okay, cool, I got
Oh
something
yeah,
for
it's a
you.
problem.
Yeah.
It's a whole problem.
Yeah, it's gonna be that training day. You told me,
Oh.
you told me to suck your dick. You want me to suck your dick?
You said that, right? Yeah, you said that.
Yeah. You call me a liar. You call me a liar?
Call me a liar.
Nah, man. It has to be. But I think this speaks on to what you were saying, Dom, about it's just a normal occurrence,
Mm.
and it's going to be a normal occurrence until people step up and say stuff,
Mm.
and that's why, you know, now Cass is uber careful on set.
Mm.
Like the racist jokes, the sex jokes, all that shit is out the window now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, cause you hear that on a regular on set.
Mm.
That shit now, it's how are you doing?
Did
sir?
that happen like after the Weinstein thing, or was it?
I
Just
think
always
when they
a thing
first
where
announced it
people
was going, but once they, for me, what I noticed it was once they got rid of Kevin Spacey's ass, he's number one on the call sheet. The show centered around him,
Mm.
and when they said, "Oh, yo, you got the role," motherfuckers in Hollywood was like, "Yo, I really could lose my job out here."
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, I really got to worry. You know what I'm saying? Like,
worry.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's some real shit. And then when they got Bill Cosby's ass, when they got Weinstein, as far as like going to actual trial, people was like, "Oh yeah, they're not playing right now."
Mm.
Yeah, like on Reprisal, I'll be making that's what she said jokes all the time. They're like,
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute.
Can I laugh? Can I laugh?
But it's different when a woman says it.
Right.
It was like,
that's when they know, like, okay,
Okay, we cool.
I can't do it. Yeah,
We
they
cool.
felt awkward, but I've been on enough for they're chill. But
Yeah, and I think you developed that relationship.
it's just a way
Mm.
of of how you approach and how you deal.
Right.
Mm.
Just don't make somebody uncomfortable that you
Right.
wouldn't want to be in.
Right.
Mm.
You know.
But that's easier said than done.
Right. So how I look at it, essentially how I look at it is I make it known there on the spot, but in a professional way. I worked on a show, on a pilot, and I'm the guy. So if anybody knows anything about these production cargo vans, the step off is real, it's like this big.
Mm.
You got these women stepping off. Some of them are wearing boots or heels, or they're not wearing comfortable attire sometimes.
Mm.
So when I get out, I offer my hand to help them get down, especially if the weather's shitty.
Right.
It's like, I ain't gonna try you bust your ass, and then I got to sit here for another 10 hours while you get healed up.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And this one particular, well, she wasn't an actress, she was a crew member. This one particular woman, I stuck my hand out, and she looked at it and kind of just like locked up and left. And I said, just trying to make sure you didn't hurt yourself. That's cool. Another person, and then she turned around and was kind of like sucked her teeth at me. And then later in the hair and makeup trailer, one of the makeup artists came over, female. She came over, she said, listen, we all saw it. Nobody likes her. She's that type of person. She's a negative energy on set. We thought what you did was very commendable. A lot of dudes don't even do that shit. And we're carrying stuff and they just expect us to step off. People have gotten hurt. So we like the fact that you offer that. And she could have kindly said to me, no, thank you. I would have been totally cool with it. But the fact that you give me that energy, you know, I almost want to say, all right, bitch, fall on my ass. But then I become that guy.
Yeah.
So
Right,
as Tamara
right.
said, you gotta know how to play it. But I do address it. I do make it known. It's like, okay, I was just trying to help you out, but you know, that's fine. That way it's brought to their attention, because I think sometimes people, it's on a subconscious level. I think sometimes people don't really know, because they've been doing it for so long, they don't know they do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not excusing it at all, but like you took somebody like Weinstein, it's like, this dude have been doing this shit for 20 plus years. That's
Yeah.
a habit.
Yeah, getting away with it. Like,
That's a habit at that point.
Then hearing the audio of it is kind of creepy.
Right? Because
Yeah,
like,
it's wild.
you sit there and it's like, you
Oh,
know,
just
y'all,
come in the house. Go,
Yeah.
just come in. Like,
it's like y'all
man,
talk shit, but it's like when you hear that, that's bad when people hear it, and it's just like, I talk shit, but that's
That's a little.
who talks like that?
Yeah,
you know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Just come on, I don't want to make a scene. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you fucking
That's
weirdo.
your game?
right?
Right.
That's it?
I don't think
Right.
most of these motherfuckers know how to talk to women. I think
because
that's one of the problems.
they don't know.
They don't
They,
have to.
they haven't gotten women until they got power. So
Yeah.
they're not used to getting women. So this is
They
how
use
they
what
get
they got
women.
to get what they
so
want.
you know, you just
That's that Scarface line.
You never been that
shit to
dude.
Manolo, right?
Yeah.
Tony said that. He's like,
Right.
first you get the money, then you get the power.
the power.
Then you get the woman.
power. It's scanners.
Yeah. What is that thing? Looks like a lizard.
like, listen.
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, it's 100% true, man, and it's scary. But I have heard stories about women doing this too.
I mean,
Cats.
yeah, it does happen.
Marcus, that's it. That's what's going on.
Marcus.
Wow.
Now,
That's what's going on.
have either of you ever had to deal with that diva behavior on set where it's just that one actor that's just too high maintenance, too...
Oh shit.
Just once.
Just-
Surprisingly.
You don't have to
Couple
name
times.
the actress or actor,
Couple
so...
times.
No, not.
Yeah,
I
of
wouldn't.
course,
I
yeah.
wouldn't, but just once. First day on set, asking like, what's the angle of the camera? Oh, aren't you gonna do this? And already like everybody was just standing still like,
Yeah, it's not shit.
like why are you gonna profile me?
Everybody look around. I said,
And then everybody, and then you start hearing stories from
Right.
everybody else's experience, like the costume department talking about, they wanna raise the budget for the costume
Right.
to purchase.
right. This shit is stupid,
To purchase
man.
Lord.
I've had it a couple of times, but it's only been dudes.
It's only been dudes.
It's only been dudes. I've
Dude
never had it with
divas.
females. Never had it with females.
Ain't nothing worse
Always
than a
been
bitch
dudes.
diva. Nigga,
Straight
ass
up.
nigga.
Straight up. It's like, yo, you. And the funny thing about it is the show is no longer on TV, so that says a lot. He's the number one on the show. So that says
Do
a
you
lot.
like take pride in that? Like, ha, nigga.
No, straight up, y'all see me tweet about this shit all the time. I firmly believe in the karma bus, man. That shit
Yeah.
don't miss no stops.
Yeah.
That shit will come back around. You want to be an asshole and treat people like shit? Now you don't have a job.
Yo, that reminds me of dude. Who's the dude who played Mr. Smith in The Matrix?
Mr.
Viggo Mortensen.
Yo, he
no,
came
not
out-
Viggo Mortensen.
I don't fucking work.
Hugo
for that.
Something like
Hugo
that.
Weaving. Yeah,
Yeah,
Hugo
him. He came out and he said he was supposed to be in the first Avengers as Red Skull. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then he got
He
cut
looked
because
real Red Skullish.
Well, they said it was creative differences, but it probably would have been money.
yeah, he said it was
What did
something
you
about the
say?
money.
Hash about creative? What is creative difference mean? I don't fuck with that nigga.
I mean, it's a polite way of saying that because
it's a
Yeah.
It's a very polite way of
It's a
saying
polite way
there's a
saying
lot-
I don't fuck with that
because,
nigga.
because at the end of the day, you sign a lot of contracts,
Right.
Yeah.
and a lot of non-disclosures.
You're
that
trying to get with that
you
suit.
release what's
it's a business thing.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of funny because y'all was talking about karma, and one of the things that I don't like that nigga. I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't like that
I don't
nigga.
like him
Hugo
because when he was in the Transformers, he said voicing Megatron it was meaningless. But then Michael Bay came out and said, "Wait, you got $200K to voice for 2 hours? Like
Yeah,
what
you
the
didn't
fuck
do
you
any
mean?
work. Yeah.
Come on, man! Like that was like, then that happened. I was like, karma, bitch. Like
He's an actor.
that's what
Yeah.
happens.
Well, a lot of cats, and it's not to make them bougie, but you hear these stories about these classically trained actors who they zero in and focus, and then some work is just not
They don't-
meaningful to them.
It's beneath them, sort
Right,
of. It's just
and they don't
money.
understand the impact it has. Because for a generation, them kids that were teenagers in the early 2000s, that's all they gonna know Hugo Weaving for is Megatron.
Yeah.
Megatron, and maybe 10 years, not even 10 years, maybe 5 years prior to that, is gonna be Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
That's it. They're not
That's
gonna
it.
know any of your other shit.
And then I guess you could throw Lord of the Rings in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And
It
that's about
happened
it.
with T.I. recently. I heard on his podcast. He was
Just checking
in.
them out.
He was supposed to be in a movie with like Morgan Freeman and somebody else with Morgan Freeman and Robert De Niro, and he was falling asleep at the table read. It was
Oh,
like,
shit.
He didn't give a fuck about the role at all. Where it was like he's supposed to have like a minor, like it was Las Vegas
Okay.
movie that didn't do so well
Yeah.
in the fucking box office. So he was supposed to be, I guess, like a manager of a Las Vegas hotel.
Okay.
And he was falling asleep at the table read, and Morgan Freeman was like, "Wake up, son!
Wow.
You're not paying attention."
You smoke crack, don't you, Sam's?
Yeah, basically, he was like, "Yo," it was some shit like that. But then, like after he left the audition, T.I. got a call from his agent. It was like, "Yo,
Fuck up.
Morgan Freeman don't want to work with you."
Yeah.
But it was like they gotta pay you still. It was like they gotta pay me. Oh well, fuck it then. I don't want to do the movie then. But it was just like you took that chance on a movie with Morgan Freeman and Robert De Niro that could have been a smash when you got those two big ass names, but it didn't do so well. So now you lucked out, but
Yeah, but because
you took a big chance.
Because the role wasn't that
That
important.
relationship
You didn't
is
take it
separate
serious
now
enough.
because
Yeah.
now your professionalism just showcased.
Yeah,
That-
but
that
he was on lean and all types of other drugs, so I guess I can blame him.
He was
on
too
that.
busy, doing the family thing.
I was gonna say something about that, but I wasn't
he
gonna
was
say nothing.
self-medicating on lean. He said he was like, I was on lean and all types of pills and shit
Checking
like that. So he
Ivys
was
and
falling
whatnot.
asleep at the table read, but it was just like, how the fuck do you fall asleep at a table read
With
with like God
Morgan
and
Freeman.
fucking what's my man? What's his name
Raging
in fucking
Bull, nigga.
Casino?
Robert, yeah.
Somebody.
He's an Irishman though,
Yeah.
because Joe Pesci called him.
No,
out,
wasn't he Jewish in Casino?
No, he
wasn't Jewish.
no, he
in
was
Casino.
Irish.
Irish?
I don't fucking know.
I don't know. Casino, goddammit, you seen it.
He was something Steen.
Yes.
No, he was Jewish.
Yeah, he
No,
was Jewish. That's what I
That's right, because Joe
Yeah,
Pesci
Steen
came
is
up and he was
Jewish.
like,
Yeah.
"Don't you ever go over my head, Jew motherfucker."
Yeah, Jew
Jew
motherfucker.
motherfucker. Yeah, it's like, wow, Joe Pesci be on one.
Yeah, I mean Joe Pesci.
I mean, he has a role and he plays it.
That's but you know what?
no, but Joe Pesci has a role where he can be comedic or he can be serious.
But it's still the same.
Because you guys watched that the Home Alone, the documentary on the movies that made us,
Yeah.
or whatever, and they
Yeah.
talked about Joe Pesci playing. It was like, he might be a little bit much for a little
For this?
gangster for this.
But it worked though.
Nah, it worked.
I couldn't see nobody else doing that.
I know.
I can't.
Nobody else doing that.
Oh, now how do y'all feel about remakes?
Reboots? The word that's banned?
Reboots, remakes. How do y'all feel? Okay, so they're remaking Home Alone. I just heard that they're remaking Bambi. They're remaking all these other shits. How do you feel
How you
about?
remake Bambi? Is she gonna get shot again?
They, yes, actually, yes. They're doing. They're doing a lot. No, it's,
Hit the Rolling Stone with the rodeo.
Why would you do that? All I
bad.
picture was LeBron doing it.
no, but they're doing just how they did in Lion King with the live action animals and shit
my
like that. So
God,
it's like
that was,
Oh, you ain't like it either?
so
John Favreau dropped.
Tamara.
I love him, but he dropped the ball on that. He dropped the ball on that, man.
So they're
Lion
doing
King was just oh my god, that
an
was a
abomination. We know.
conversation.
No, it wasn't that bad, but it was.
Nigga,
there was
it
no-
was bad.
It was.
It was horrible.
I don't know about they in the beginning.
Beyonce was like
No.
a lion that got kidnapped, was in a Dallas zoo for a while,
No.
and then they decided to release her back in the wild.
No, what I always say is Nala did great as Beyonce.
Wow,
I
that's
think,
pretty good. I like
That's
that.
what I get from this.
I think the
Because-
mistake they made was like trying to make the lion so realistic looking that there wasn't
The beehive gonna be
no,
after us.
there was no
There
emotion.
was no exactly
There's no
behind
emotion.
the eyes.
Yeah.
If you go on YouTube, there's actually a video of an artist who actually redrew.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
redraws
You
all this
saw
shit.
the eyes and
Yeah,
everything, and I think that's what made people emotionally attached
Yeah.
to the original cartoon because you saw the expression in the eyes, but you didn't see it here. So you're
And I thought he did. I thought he did a
disconnected from
damn good job with Jungle Book. That's why I was
Yeah.
hyped. Jungle
Yeah,
Book
I
was
know.
good,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, he did Jungle Book and killed."
I
Yeah,
think-
Lion King's about
as
to be
soon as I
great.
saw King Louie, I was like, oh.
But I think the difference with the Jungle Book though, there was a human. There was alive. There was actually
Right, but that's what I'm
something
saying.
there.
Even the animals, though, like they had that. Like when you looked at
Yeah.
the animals,
There's a little bit more.
you bypass the it was like, okay, they got a soul.
Yeah.
They got.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, oh man, he's gonna do great with Lion King.
Plus
'cause-
James Earl kind of old too, so his voice don't hit the same no more.
Yeah, he sure
Yeah,
does.
it
It don't
did.
sound
He still got that
as
bass.
That's another one.
But
That's another
you better
one.
stop. You better stop, man.
Don't.
No.
You better stop.
Listen.
Don't call it.
Listen,
Please don't call it.
I,
Don't call
I
it.
fuck with Vader.
Is Vader dead?
I fuck with Mufasa.
Mufasa dead?
Come on, man.
The King of
But-
Zubata dead?
Coming to America, you better stop, man.
I'm just saying.
The nigga from
So-
Say a Lot?
Finished filming
Okay,
it already.
did you
I don't
see
remember.
Lion King?
Did I see?
Did you see the new live action Lion King?
Yeah. That's,
Okay,
that's what I'm
Chris,
talking
did you
about.
see the new action Lion
did.
King? Okay, so did you feel that did you feel that James Earl Jones' performance in the animated 1994 Lion King was the same as the live action 2019
I think that's
Lion
on the
King?
director, though. You can't put that
I'm
on
talking
him.
about voice, inflection,
That's what I'm
all
saying.
that
I
shit
think
as
that's
an
on the
actor that
director.
y'all.
I think
That's on the director.
because we're also connecting with what we're seeing visually again because it wasn't personified with seeing the
He didn't
emotion.
sound out of breath
But-
to you.
But
He sounded like
He didn't sound like he needed a machine like a.
Damn, he did the Vader reference.
put that on by James Earl
he
Jones.
sounded like how
Please
Vader
don't.
looked at the end of
Oh shit! Oh my god, y'all need to stop, man.
I can't.
James Earl, we love you,
I
James
can't.
Earl. We love you, James Earl. Y'all need to stop that.
Domino,
shit,
don't
man.
put him in your book.
Right,
Don't
really.
put him in your book.
He not in my book, but if he go, If he go,
Y'all crazy.
I'm not surprised.
Simba. Everything.
You know what's awesome?
You know what I'm talking about. He was like a pack of Newports a day.
Yo, stop trying to make him the great king of the past. Like,
Okay, so
I thought James Oliver did a great job.
Great
I thought
job.
Seth Rogen.
good.
Timon and Pumbaa did good.
They
I like
were
them.
really good.
I don't like them. Zazu was cool. Timon and Pumbaa,
Yeah.
I could have did without Seth Rogen.
That's what cool.
I thought he was one of the best parts of the film.
Maybe it's me harkening back to the animated one where it was
classic.
like, you know, they call me Mr. Pig.
Yeah,
Yeah, they left out a lot of
stuff.
lines. They left out a lot of
Yeah,
lines.
they left out a lot of stuff that could have like made it like grandiose.
I think that's
to
part
me.
of the problem too. They left out some of the stuff that gave them a little bit more character.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
But
and I
also-
think Donald did a good job, man. I think he really did.
Yeah,
a good
Donald
job.
did a good job. Yeah.
But also relationship. Like I went with two friends of mine that I've known for over 20 years. So we all grew up with this together for sure. And my guy friend that I went to, he was raving mad when Mufasa was climbing up and then Scar
Scar,
No, hold on,
man,
hold on.
trash.
Hold on, because Scar put his claws in, and
Finally,
my friend,
manicured.
I see him leaning, like just waiting for it,
The long
and then
live the
all of a
king.
sudden, you know, Mufasa's died. He's like, "What the fuck?" Then he said because in the original he climbs up and he says Scar.
Yeah.
Brother,
yeah.
help me.
Yeah.
And in this one he did, and he said, "And what the fuck was that bitch slap?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
Oh,
that's a
man.
valid point.
Wow.
But you know what? And also, I felt the relationship between Simba and Scar for this
Yeah.
one wasn't, you did not really see that.
Right.
Whereas you saw more of that in the animated, you know, like Uncle, like that was mentioned.
Yeah.
Where like you saw dimensions to Scar's character in the animation, whereas
Right.
this, he was just like, he was
Yeah,
really
just-
one dimensional.
yeah.
Like he was just straight up evil. He just hated.
And I got love for
But he-
Chiwetel, but I don't understand why they didn't call Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, because he's still alive.
Yeah.
He was just in fucking Watchmen.
He probably was doing Watchmen.
I mean,
voiceover
but it's
work,
voiceover
dog.
work. He don't have to like
Oh,
show up.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
his voice is still the same.
He was
Now-
a mocaping.
Now, another thing, as actors, because a lot of times I'll talk to like rappers and like painters and stuff like that, and they judge like the work of other painters and rappers and shit like that. Like they judge it with like not a broad brush, but like they just judge it differently. Now, can you watch movies and be as engaged and entertained, or do you actually like sit down and like judge every fucking scene?
I
and-
study.
It's hard.
I study. It's
Is
really
it
hard.
is it really that hard to sit down and
If a
actually
movie-
enjoy
if-
something?
If I watch a movie
Yeah,
and I
it's
get
rare.
caught up in the movie, that shit is good. Straight up.
Yeah.
Like, at least for me, it's good.
I
It's
agree.
very, like, Heat. He's one of those movies that I
Yeah.
can watch over and over again and get caught up in that shit over and over
That's
again.
how I feel about
Pulp
Goodfellas.
Fiction,
Yeah.
Goodfellas, like, you know, even Purple Rain. It's like, all right, I don't press it out with an actor, but, you know, you get the feels you watch that shit, man. It's like, damn, this motherfucker.
Curly haired maggot.
In the lake.
Yeah. But
Shout out to Lake
Lake
Minnetonka.
Minnetonka.
I
Bathe in
don't
the waters of Lake
personally get a lot
Minnetonka.
of time to watch TV or film, but during the SAG nominations, we get screeners often.
Yeah.
So what's often, you know, also for the Oscars or the Golden Globes, we get those screeners, so we get a chance to watch. So we're really studying at that point. But yeah, if the story takes us away, then we're like, oh wow,
yeah,
You know,
it's shocking.
like
Yeah, but
like
how-
Parasite. I've never seen
I gotta
really
watch
those
that.
actors.
That shit was good, man.
It was
That
good.
shit was good.
It was good.
Because the story everybody can understand, even though if
It's
you
like
don't
a-
speak the language, the story is it's about
economics
it's about envy. No, it's
Yeah.
about envy. It's
Oh,
like
that's
you
what it's
see
about?
somebody who got some shit that you want.
You
What
go.
are you gonna not only make sure that you get it, but they don't have it. And to see the extremes of what these people go through, man, I'm telling you, y'all gotta watch that. The subtitles get a little annoying, but
Yeah, no,
that shit
but
is good,
from
man.
every-
I love watching. I mean, growing up overseas, I often watch foreign films, but I like the different interpretations for cinematic style and how human relations are depicted in different cultures. Like in India, how they view versus someplace like Japanese cultures, like Japanese horror films.
Man, listen.
Yeah, they have
Brilliant.
nothing compared to what we get.
Yeah, yeah.
It's,
Where
can't
was
touch
the
it.
Centipede made?
I
think it was
it's
Germany.
American. Yeah.
It's like German
Okay.
Dutch,
filmmaker
right?
or something like that. Yeah.
As long as it was American, I'm cool.
Wow.
Well,
The fucking human centipede?
the second,
Yeah.
the,
Check his something.
The Human Centipede?
Yeah, I know what it is. Think why you repeating it ain't gonna change.
I mean, have you seen like 1, 2, and 3?
No.
No, I
Oh,
barely.
all right, cool.
I barely seen like one.
After
Barely.
the first one,
Oh,
I
okay,
was like,
cool.
nah, bro, this ain't for me.
You
Yeah,
seen
this
from-
I don't even know if I even seen the whole thing. I just know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I actually watched
You
it.
have it.
I've seen 2 and part of 3, where it's to the point where I was like,
Yes.
have
Maybe
you seen
watch
it?
it so much.
I don't do horror.
It's a,
Okay.
it's a film.
But
That-
being
that
on
ain't
this
horror, that's
film,
scat.
this whole week I've been watching.
No,
I've been
okay.
watching a bunch of I just watched Hereditary today.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yesterday I watched. What did I watch yesterday?
Wind River.
Wind River yesterday. I watched Silence of the Lambs and I watched Us.
Okay. Now, Chris said at the point as he's in his life, he won't do any homosexual scenes. Is there anything that you won't do, Tamara?
Depending on what they are.
Yeah.
But I mean, like Human Centipede, where it's like you
Oh, hell
gotta be
no.
checking somebody's ass.
No.
You wanna go
Like-
ass to mouth?
No, you gotta actually be to the butt cheek so
Yeah.
it could be real.
So at your point in your career, Chris, you won't do that.
Nah, bro.
You know. Okay.
Tell
so
him I
right-
eat ass, bro.
Okay, I'm saying eating ass and
Eating 8 ass.
eating a woman's ass and doing the actual gay scene. But I'm saying, like, Tamara, is there anything that you won't do?
There's something against my morals, but I think I feel as though I really need to
Like a
take
homosexual
look.
scene or just against your
I
morals?
think if
I guess.
it's a homosexual scene that's something that showcases more than just another woman and sex. You know,
No.
if it shows the dynamic of the character, that's different.
Mm,
I think again it depends on the writing and the content.
mm.
But not something that is just one thing. Like if it's just, for example, one of the first jobs I ever turned down, because typically like you have a stigma when you first start off, like, oh, don't turn anything down, always accept everything from your agent. You know, you don't want to be that one where you're not called often. But one of the first jobs I had ever turned down, it was a very, very strong piece. The character, it was me being a school teacher, but it was right around the time of Sandy Hook.
Mm.
So it was somewhat like that, like a school shooter coming in to shoot up a classroom, and I was a teacher, and I'm holding a dead child, but I was pregnant, and then
Damn.
well, this
Damn,
was
I know.
it
That's
was
deep.
it's a very powerful piece, but then they also flash forward where school is coming back in, and long story short, it's somehow related to abortion, and that's like a really touchy subject in general.
Mm.
So I just didn't feel comfortable with the project because they brought in religion and abortion, and I was like, I don't.
Damn, they touching all
I
of
don't.
it.
You get
I
all
don't
everything.
feel,
Yeah.
because they were saying that everybody who does abortion, you know, is against God, basically.
Shit, they
you
need
know,
to bring
and
that-
I was like,
They need to
I
bring the
don't,
Klan in there.
I don't
Yeah,
feel
right.
comfortable with
You
that.
Putting
And-
that message out, yeah.
yeah, I didn't feel, even though the character, the role was very powerful, and that would have been amazing to showcase, especially as my first.
Mm.
The content of the material
Right.
was very touchy, that I didn't want to even be associated for any controversy like that, whether I believed in it or not.
Right.
I just did not feel comfortable. And I'm really, really glad that my agent, she looked at the project and she said, hey, I'm gonna let you read this. Because actually somebody approached me about it. And then I said, if you want me for anything, you need to contact my agent.
Mm.
So she didn't even seek this out for me. It was like a Facebook message connection thing.
Okay.
So then, yeah, and she warned me. She said, I'm going to let you read it and I'm going to let you make the decision. And I read it and I really harbored over it because it was my first job with my agent.
Mm.
And I was like, you know, I really don't feel comfortable with this.
Right.
And she was like, honey, that's fine because this only would have been shown in churches. It ain't going nowhere. And, you know, but I didn't want to say nothing. But and again, it brings back to the point of morals and the relationship. What I appreciate is that she never once did her own input of opinion on how she felt. She let me make my own decision on how I felt about it before anything. And ever since then, like, I think we had a really strong respect for one another.
Mm.
But yeah, I think really it depends on the content.
Right.
You know, like for a rape scene that's really, really extreme, but it also showcases what happens in a reality.
Right.
But if it's just, you know, a sex scene or just a rape scene, then no, I'm not going to do that. I've turned down roles where it's just making out with somebody, then walking half naked out, but there was no substance to the character. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
What am I doing this for?
You know, it needs to be,
for what?
it needs to be artistically done. And it needs to showcase a reason why I'm behind it. At the end of the day, my job as an artist is to speak for those who have no voice. And I've been very fortunate to be able to portray roles like that. And I'm not going backwards with that to just do a role just because.
And it makes sense too, because, you know, that's the conversation that I have with, you know, my younger female students when they talk about playing, you know, nude scenes. And, you know, I'm very blunt with it, but I tell them, like, you don't prostitute yourself. Like, and what I mean by that is, don't say, oh, this indie film is only paying me $125, so I ain't gonna show my titties. Then Michael Bay come up and cut your check for $1 million. You got titties everywhere. To me, you're basing what you're doing off the pay. That's what prostitutes do. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, so, but
it's
you
but
want to be Lawrence so bad,
right.
like,
but it depends on.
I'm just saying,
it depends. Like you look at somebody like, and it's like, oh well, Julia Roberts never done her career. Kate Winslet's done it several times, and she's got more Oscars than Julia Roberts. Eva Mendes is done. She was butt ass naked in Training Day. People don't remember that shit though because it fit the scene.
I remember that.
Right. Right. But people have to think about it like because it was so quick, but. That's the type of relationship that was established already in the film, so it made sense. It wasn't just like, oh, and then she covered up because like, oh, this motherfucker's in here with a shotgun. Oh my god, you know.
Yeah. Don't shoot me in my titties.
Right. So I mean, I need those. So,
I need those.
Yeah, it just depends. Like you look at somebody like Kevin Bacon, you know, any opportunity he can have his dick out. He's done it for like 4 straight films.
Invisible Man, ever since Invisible Man, it's like,
like,
goddamn, all right, you like it?
But when you got someone like Yahya Abdul-Mateen, right? Where he was just out here, Mr. Manhattan, things swinging, Ball Johnson dance. He was just out here, right?
I met Yahya before too. He's cool, but I was
that shit gotta be weird. But like, yo, I know what your dick look like, bro.
This was prior to.
Okay. But yeah, after that, it was like, yo, bro.
Now he about to blow up though. He about to blow up.
That real shit. Now see, here's the thing. Wait, I will say this: that scene or that episode of Black Mirror, I would entertain doing that if it was with the right actor. I think him and Anthony Mackie had a good chemistry where it wasn't. To me, it was viable. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't like it?
No. It's just like we was talking about that on a past episode, and he just said some gay shit.
I mean, here's the thing: you gotta understand the technology. It's like y'all cats game. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying,
huh?
Not
right,
like that.
I mean, it's like, hey, what you gotta do?
Yeah, it ain't like we playing Sims or some shit.
Yeah,
get out how you live.
I mean, you know that wouldn't bother me because I don't think they took it overboard.
No.
That's just like, nah, bro.
No.
But
Hesh threw his whole PlayStation away.
Now, is there a role that you guys turned down that you wish you hadn't turned down? Like that became, I guess, not something that was like, I guess, grandiose, but it was just like, you know, after you look back at it and seeing how like the other actor actress like portrayed that.
No, because that's for them. You know what I'm saying? I've been in that. I've not done that yet. Every role that I've turned down, excuse me, when I see it, it's like, okay, well, the project wasn't. It's not that the actor did bad.
Yeah.
It
it's the same.
Okay.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I've been pretty proud of everything that I've accepted. Sometimes I do something and I'm like, I really feel this, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's also like an introduction to that casting director who's never seen me before. So even though I may not necessarily believe in the project, it's still an opportunity for something else. Because maybe they're casting other projects that may be even better, but they'll always remember my audition because it was something. Like, for example, I got an audition and made no sense. It was for a feature film, and I was playing a mother to a child who was in college. I don't look anything like...
You look smooth like 24, 25.
Right, I look like I just graduated college. How in the world am I gonna
like a smooth,
mother?
Yeah.
But the scene was good.
Black
and
on
I
crack,
was,
baby.
Yeah, but there was no way.
Like no way in hell.
Like now I've played mother roles where I've had like 10-year-old kids, and even my parents were like, "What the heck? Like you were 19
Like, yo,
or something?"
I know
Like,
you. I know you.
Yeah.
right. But there was absolutely no way I could be a mother to a college student.
Yeah.
So but this role, the scene was pretty nice, and it involved some pretty good people in it. I was like, I've never seen this casting director. I'll just do it anyway. And surprisingly, they actually put me on hold.
Okay.
So on hold is
There's
a
strong
term,
consideration, yeah.
right?
Basically.
And they start asking for your availability. But and I knew it wasn't right for me anyway. But the fact that I am now embedded in their memory
Right.
will showcase for a future project. Like, oh, that girl who really killed it.
Right.
You know, let's bring her in for this project because I specifically remember that audition. And I think at the end of the day, that's our job. Our job is to audition. If you book it, that's great. That's the icing on the cake. But our job is to audition. Can you move the room? Can you move the audience? And if a casting director can remember you for that, then more than likely they'll call you in for more opportunities, and that's what matters.
Yeah, fostering those relationships like you mentioned earlier. And that's where the misogyny and playing the politics comes in, is you do the audition.
Okay.
And then when you submit for another audition for that same casting director, hey, by the way, remember when I did that? And y'all thought I was like 80 years old and shit. You know, and that way they, oh yeah, that's right. And then, you know, that's where you foster and you schmooze. I mean, the other shit, man, is and you got those people that are, you know, get that, you know, they said it in Bombshell, getting ahead by giving head. You know, you got those women that'll do that shit. But you got those dudes that'll try to fuck their way to the top. But it's like the moment that you do
I
something.
hate Bobby.
Huh?
That fucking I swear to God, before the end of the fucking month, I'm putting on a shirt.
But just surprising.
Why?
No,
That
it's
shit
just
goes. Yeah.
just-
I mean, but if it happens, it happens. You know, it's like
yeah,
some
but
people don't.
you know, most actors don't talk about that.
Because why? Because then you're putting somebody on blast. It's
Yeah.
like you can't compromise these people, their job. You know, compromise. Wow, wow, wow.
That's the sound effect.
That's the sound effect.
That's the sound effect.
That's another AKA for you. AKA.
That's good.
Oh man.
Now, like in other mediums, like we like to preach this thing of like independence, right? Now, when you were talking about that you were out of work, you did your own kind of independence work and stuff like that. Now, is that something that you guys kind of lean more towards when you aren't, I guess, as active in certain roles, or is that just something that you just do like on a whim? Like, I got an idea and I just got to get it out.
Right. You know, just keep yourself active. That's all it is. Keep yourself active. Because you'll drive yourself crazy waiting for the phone to ring and see it twiddling your thumbs. It's not gonna work.
She
like
was
that.
angry for a little while.
But again, my anger was toward these people screaming from the heavens. We're about quality content, but then you putting these SMSs up all the time, and it's like Tamara said, for comedy, that's great. But again, and you know, I'm not bringing this up to throw shade on this sister, but I told y'all this shit when Jess Hilarious got on. I said, is she gonna be able to sustain?
Yeah. Well, we kind of knew, but
Oh shit.
no, but we kind of see. But
Yeah, you did.
we see.
I just realized I ain't seen her in a mad long. You know?
Right.
I follow her on Instagram.
She's on the gram.
and it's not the
That's about it.
same. When she was on Wildin' Out for a little while, and
She
it
was
didn't
with
work.
Rel.
Yeah.
And she was on Rail, but then that show got canceled. I don't know if that's ever coming back.
I don't.
But it's probably not. But it's just the fact that we see that quick rise with social media
Right. It's quick.
personalities, but we can recognize it with certain people, and then we just see that fall just that quickly.
Well, I think with her, she just don't have the drive to go ahead, because one of the reasons why she not even on Wild 'N Out, because she said, it's a male environment. I don't feel like I fit in. It's like, yeah, you gotta fit in. It's a bunch of males up there. You gotta push.
Stand out. 'Cause
There's other females up there.
I was gonna say other females.
Yeah,
are
like you
making it
got
But
deal with it.
She also could say that because there may be things going on behind the scenes that makes her uncomfortable.
Right.
Like, you know,
But-
equal pay or treatment.
Oh yeah, they don't
you
get they don't get paid shit.
Yeah.
no, but I think it's just that she's not funny.
Well, is it that, or is it because didn't she like back to back like dumber ass like do some dumb shit like back to back? like saying some
Oh,
wild
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
She
yeah,
said some
yeah.
like
She
wild
said some shit
racist
about
and
like
some,
Middle Eastern people.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she said some shit about gay people.
yeah,
or
something like
that,
back to
something
back.
like
She did
that.
some
Did you
dumb
see that?
shit. Like,
She
Like,
I didn't hear
she
nothing
was on a
about that.
plane and
Yeah.
she was
he was like
recording
a
somebody
seat.
with a turban.
yeah,
It's
that
that,
I
it's,
remember.
it's
Yeah,
that
I
whole
remember.
social media thing where it's like you
Right.
feel like you have to, because you're that social media personality,
gotta
that you
put-
have to
you
catch
gotta put that
everything on
present.
Instagram or like Twitter or whatever. So she said something about some Middle Eastern person on the plane, and then she caught some flack for that. And then she, like, maybe like a month or so later, she said something about like somebody made a comment in one of her pictures and they happened to be homosexual, and then she said the F word, and then like she like it was like some wild shit, but then it was like ever since then,
I think she shot herself in the foot. I don't even know.
like
the talent was
it's
there.
not
That
even the
might have
fact
been-
of like she's not talented. It's just the fact that you just keep doing
But
this
you're
dumb
not
shit.
you're not skilled enough to do that. Carrying it's different mediums. Carrying Instagram content for a minute is one thing. When you are a series regular on a show, opposite somebody like Rel, who's done the circuit, who's made the transitions into film and TV, you gotta carry your weight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's again going back to the sports analogy. Just because you play varsity in high school don't mean you can play in college. And just because you played in college don't mean you can go pro.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, okay, you got skills, but it doesn't mean that you ready for this upper echelon unless you put the work in or you just know it from the beginning. Like, when people saw Zion, it was like, yo, this dude he's an animal. He's definitely going pro.
Right.
Like, period. You know, same thing with Bron, same thing with Kobe. Like, these people, it's like, you see it and people, it's like, yeah, they're going to go. You see some other people and it's just like, they got to work for it. You know, Tom Brady cheating ass, even though he cheated most of it. But, you know, you go and last in the draft. You have to
Shout
wait
out
for
to
somebody
Greg
to hurt.
Oden.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I'm saying? Is he even playing anymore?
No. No.
Damn.
Shout out to fucking Andrew Bynum. Shout out to fucking
His hairpiece.
What's the dude they drafted to the fucking Wizards? What's the tall dumb nigga?
Damn.
I don't know.
Anthony Brown.
No, fucking Kwame Brown.
Kwame Brown.
There we go. You was close.
Somebody said I watched
It jogged something.
I watched a YouTube video where they said Jordan ended his shit though.
Yeah, he did because he was on the Lakers and then he went to the Wizards. Then Jordan was like, nah,
You're a bum.
you a fucking bum.
and you have somebody like, I mean, look, I'm gonna keep it 100. If I was on set with Denzel and he was like, yo, you suck, I'd quit acting. Like straight up, I'd probably quit acting.
But it's a difference between, well, I guess.
No, you got one of the greatest people of all time that ever played the game telling you you're trash.
garbage.
And not to motivate you, like, no, you're suck.
garbage.
But that
yeah.
could be the Morgan Freeman and T.I. situation, or that could be just like, yo, you really trash.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's that situation where it's like, yo,
you got
Yo, you really
Garbage.
trash.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. When I met Felicia, I was kind of like waiting for that validation. Because she was watching from above, and I'm like,
But that's different. That's like Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Watching from like, yo, do these little motherfuckers got it? Let me see real quick. Oh yeah, I like her. Look light skin, red bone.
Right,
I like her.
right.
There.
right.
Or you can look at it from Will Smith, for example. Like, I didn't know that James Avery didn't like none of his acting.
Right.
I didn't know that shit.
Will revealed a lot, and it goes back to the social media thing. He said something on when he was interviewing with Sway, and he said for the longest time he was living up to what Will Smith was supposed to be, Mr. Box Office, Mr. Summer, and that's where he started having these droughts, even though they technically weren't flops because they were making their money back, but it wasn't Will Smith numbers.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I'm not being me. Because I'm living up to what everybody expects Will Smith to be. And he's like, once I had to let that shit go. And I think that's why, like, I heard you guys talking about Bad Boys. I haven't seen it yet. But, like,
me neither.
people that... And I was one of the main ones. I saw the trailer and I was like... And everybody that I've talked to, even here you talk about, everybody I talked to was
pretty
like,
good,
yo,
yeah.
it's actually
Really
good.
good, yeah.
Surprising.
It's alright.
Yeah.
You saw it?
Oh, you saw it finally?
It's alright.
You said I.
they're already greenlit for a fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's alright.
fast for industry standards.
Yeah.
Not even for my standards. I guess I gotta take myself out of the first two. It's alright.
It's 76,
It's
what was it, 76 million over the weekend?
No, it
Made like 100
100 million
has
now.
made
Like 100 worldwide, I think. over the
So,
weekend.
but it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm gonna save my shit for Sunday.
That's hilarious. I mean, I think it's hard, man. It's hard to be yourself with the thing of social media.
Right.
And that goes back to what we were saying about the anger was what content, like I can't be me on social media. I gotta be this Chris Greene who, here's this, and here's that, here's this, here's that.
But is it worth it in the end?
No, that's what I'm saying. To me, it's not. It's like it should be. It's a tool. It's a tool. At the end of the day, I do a movie like what Will Smith did with Bad Boys. Like the whole, I saw that shit. The whole lift with the Porsche.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah.
Like, because you still promoting the damn movie. He wouldn't do that otherwise.
Right, yeah.
You're promoting the shit out the movie.
I mean, Kevin Hart did that shit, but that's a whole different.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense promoting the movie.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like, why do that otherwise? You know what I mean? Like, what is the point in doing that otherwise? So you gotta find the happy mediums with it. But I think if you're solely basing it off that, I'm solely gonna give you a job on your followers. That's part of the reason why they were getting rid of how you can see how many likes or whatever.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why that shit.
Yeah.
That's also part of the reason why I think I heard somebody say they're about to really heavily filtered pictures or some shit like that. It's about to be flagged. Like they're limiting the filters now because these Instagram models is getting
Put on
paychecks
a bunch of fake shit.
yeah, and then they showing up and it's
They're
like,
ruining
yo,
our market.
Catfishing is real.
you're not looking
I'd have
nothing
been
like
catfished
this.
at least
That's
5
crazy.
times.
Right. See?
Today.
At least
Right?
5. Today. To this day.
To this day. To this day. Yo, he's gonna beat the brakes off Tyson Fury though.
Oh, he gonna
I
beat
hope
the
so.
fuck out that
He's
nigga.
gonna beat the brakes off.
I
Tyson
I
Fury.
cannot wait. That big
He's-
black ass Alabama ass nigga.
Yo,
I can't wait. For him
That's
to
what
beat
I'm
some
saying. Like,
fucking
people
white
don't
people up.
realize. I'm like, yo, he is the modern Mike Tyson. This dude goes to the ring trying to kill people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to fight nobody. Like, and you from the deep south? No. You have deep down issues.
He is slavery. Like if slavery was a word, he is
Dark
slavery.
skin.
That's a big ass black 6. Well, he like 6'2", 6'3" ass nigga.
Who
Big
is this?
black ass.
Deontay Wilder.
Deontay
Boxer.
Wilder.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure you see the meme to this day.
That guy's like, to this
That
day.
that guy.
Is he worse than like Kimbo Slice?
Oh, by far.
No,
Yeah.
he makes Kimbo Slice look like
he's,
shit.
He's more.
I don't know.
mean,
More aggressive?
if you
I
wanna-
don't know. Kimbo Slice.
I mean, if you want to put it to acting, he's more classically trained than Kimbo,
Kimbo
Slice.
Slice,
yeah.
Kimbo Slice was a backyard brawler where it was
He
like,
was Kimbo
You
Slice
know
is
they're
social
making
media.
a movie on him.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait to that shit. Kimbo Slice just
You know
beat
who's
niggas
playing
up.
him? You know who's playing him?
Jamie
Oh
Foxx,
yeah.
right?
Dude, M'Baku.
Winston Duke. Yeah.
Oh, Winston Duke?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I'm not kind of
that's
feeling.
a big
Hey, wait, hold on. Shh, wait. Go ahead, Domino. We waiting.
So Kimbo Slice, so Winston Duke is playing Kimbo Slice
Right.
Yeah.
as a backyard brawler,
Yeah.
hood ass Florida nigga.
Yeah.
Where is
No,
Winston Duke
Not
from?
Florida, Miami-Dade.
Miami-Dade
County.
Where's Winston?
I don't know. Where is he from? He's not British, right?
Wow. I mean, I think he could pull it off, honestly.
Fuck no.
Wow.
Winston Duke?
Wow.
You know how big he gotta
That's a
get?
big nigga.
No, he's not that far. He gotta get tight.
Yeah.
He gotta be at least like 6'2", right?
Yeah, he's
6'5".
tall.
Yeah, he-
That nigga from Trinidad.
I mean, that's closer than the UK.
Closer to fucking Miami-Dade.
It's closer to the UK.
Blood clot, chop your leg, nigga.
Really?
I mean, if you're gonna get anybody, I mean, but this nigga gotta learn how to fight. But he gotta fight at least 7 backyard niggas in order to fucking
Research. You gotta go down to Miami and do his research.
That's his audition.
Back
Yo.
Hey, go in there and fight this dude real quick.
like, yo, he gotta like poke niggas in the head, like, hey, what up?
I don't know. He did get beat up in Us, though,
Yeah.
by himself.
But that's
he got beat up by himself.
this character is supposed to be that though.
I mean,
I thought Get Out was stronger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Get Out
oh,
was
of course
definitely
it
better.
was.
Yeah, it was a better movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't understand fucking Us.
He went OD on the symbolism.
Lupita
Yeah.
got robbed. Lupita
Performance
got
wise,
robbed.
yeah, because I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, playing two different
Two-
characters.
yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
She did a great.
I mean,
She
and
was
they all
amazing.
did it. They all
Like,
did it, but
But
amazing.
her
like
character had actual like lines and shit.
no,
It had,
but
like
Yeah.
convey shit.
amazing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Her
that's-
physicality.
Yeah,
even
it was
the
like-
walk. I mean, the facial
voice.
expression,
Yeah,
the
there was-
voice. I mean,
I'm
yeah.
taking it from them because they actors.
No, I agree.
Fucking
100%.
amazing.
100%. She got robbed. But you know what? That's also the politic thing too, because Us was the oldest movie nominated out of the whole thing. Us was damn near a year out before the rest of these films.
Mhm.
So it's like I think that was just we gotta have a black film in there. So
Winston Duke.
Well, that and
I mean, how tall is he?
Fuck, I just exited out, nigga. You don't ask me that shit after.
I mean, I asked you that before. But
Yeah,
that's,
we
I think it's probably like a
obviously
height thing, like more than anything, right? You just
fucking
because how tall was Kimbo Slice?
what's the name was like
Kimbo was like
5'7",
5'10".
5'8".
Well, my
That's what-
question
that's it?
then is who would you see playing Kimbo
Kimbo.
Slice then?
Chadwick
Who
Chadwick
your
Boseman.
drink? No, you did not.
Michael B. Jordan.
Never in my
Michael
ever.
Kevin Hart.
Never.
Bruh,
Never.
that shit was funny. That shit.
Wait a minute. I don't want to fight right now. Hey, wait. Hey, put your
And he
dukes
came
up.
through, and I was like, bow. And he came through, and I hit his ass, and I was like, bow. And then I went over there, and I was like, spank
I
kick
don't
through, and I was
know,
like, bow.
Fucking Wikipedia don't say, but I'm a trust. He's at least
That's a good
over,
one. I don't
over
even
6
know who
foot.
could play Kimbo, man. I'm thinking about actors like Michael Jai White.
Michael Jai White too old.
I mean,
He still got it.
He still got it.
No, he still got it, but he ain't got that. He ain't got that Bridgeport in him no more.
Oh yeah.
You sure about that?
I'm pretty proud.
See, you don't watch
Say it
his
to a
rap
nigga
interviews,
face.
man.
I bet money you won't talk no shit to his ass.
Oh yeah.
in his face?
Yeah.
Maybe.
That nigga hit you the
All
phone.
right.
Baby.
No. Maybe. I'm just saying.
With a baseball bat and shit.
I mean,
right.
Nigga hit the kung fu treachery, nigga.
nigga, I got Hessian Bobby. Yo, take that.
What I got to do with this?
I don't know. Stay front line. I don't know.
Look, that's the shit right there. That's like every homeboy hates that shit. When your boy talk shit, then he try to bully your homeboys, and it's like,
Nah, bro,
nigga,
I'm not.
why?
I'm a pacifist. I don't believe in violence, nigga.
I'm not scared of most humans, but you know, Michael Jai White, he just because he knows shit. He know like kicks and shit.
Yeah,
but-
like he told a story, right? He said, this is when he was in his like really like in his kung fu shit. He said he had a habit of hitting people
Because he
because
couldn't pull his punches.
yeah, because no, it's like in real life because he's so used to combat that he'll be on the subway and he sees someone right here and he just went. He went like that and he hit him and his nose started bleeding and shit.
Dog.
He said he walked off like, oh shit, because it was.
It's a fucking sociopath.
Dog.
That's a legit hit and run.
Right.
Yo, that's the name of the episode. Hit and run.
Man, listen. Hey, Michael Jai White, because he be retweeting my shit. Hey, man, I got bad love for you. I got bad
Yo,
respect for you.
my goal is to
Don't
get
fuck me
Michael
up.
Jai White on this show because he's from Bridgeport.
Yeah.
We from Bridgeport. So
Hey,
we
Michael
gotta,
Jai White, Three
we-
Ninjas Podcast.
we-
Stop playing.
We got to get him on the show, either in person or on the phone. We gonna get him on the show.
Yeah.
Word.
So,
Hey, rep. Stop playing.
so
Do it. We tried to get him before, right?
I mean that. I
You gotta
mean,
keep it up.
he
I
was-
mean, he's not following me.
he
but
was the
always
one that act
replies
like
to
a
my
diva,
tweets.
kind of.
That's weird.
But no, that's the strange thing. It's like he
was on
don't
his
follow
diva
you. He
shit.
always replies to my tweets.
I
I'm
got
like,
you. Chill out.
oh wow, you finishing it up.
Right.
Hey, you know you got that Henny over there, too.
I'm taking this home with me. This for Sunday.
Oh wow, okay. Oh damn, why you gotta take it home though? You don't trust these cats?
Who them?
Yeah.
No.
It wouldn't make it to Sunday.
It
if I
wouldn't.
had it.
It wouldn't make it to Sunday.
It wouldn't make it through tonight.
Yeah. That shit's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, sir.
What else I got, man? Hey, you know we got a drive.
I know.
Oh,
So,
sure, you
last question I want to ask y'all is if y'all wanted to give any advice to an actor or actress, whether it be like with social media,
Don't do it unless you got rich parents.
God
Yeah,
damn.
nigga.
approaching social media. I guess Hollywood as a whole. What would y'all advice be?
Ladies first.
As far as social media goes, like that's still territory I'm still trying to learn and tackle. Honestly, I really just stay focused on the work.
Mm.
Chris had me speak on a panel that he hosted recently, and there was another panelist on there, Brittany. She's
Shout out
amazing.
Brittany Ann. She's a two boomerang. I want my monies.
She's amazing, but she made a very good point in that the followers will come in its time. Stay focused on your craft,
Right.
and I'm a firm believer of that too. I think it just comes with time. Like I'm on The Walking Dead, and with
Subtle flex.
no, but with the show, like I don't really post that much about it, but when Cassidy, who plays Lydia on the show, when she was doing an Instagram takeover for Walking Dead, and then she added my picture on there, then all of a sudden, like it
Follows
kind
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
right, like 250 overnight, you know.
Damn.
But I was also
that.
working on another
need
project at the time, you know. But I just it comes in time, and just don't try not to stress about it, and really just stay focused on the craft, because at the end of the day, I'm very pleased and happy with my resume, and I'm also happy to say I did not get that due to a job. Now,
Right.
granted, it can help,
Yeah.
yes, but I'm also proud to say that it was my hard work and what I did in the room or in the audition on the tape that got me the role that it became.
Right.
So, yeah, my Instagram is primarily just my work. I
Yeah.
kind of keep my private life private.
Right.
Mm.
No, I agree with that. I think you know, it's holding yourself to a higher standard. You know, the one thing in our industry, unfortunately, that a lot of people that doesn't translate over from other industries, right? For example, if you're a young kid out here and you hooping, right? You gonna tell, you know, whether it's a son, a nephew, a little cousin, or whatever, if they hooping, and they ask you guys, yo, how do I get better? Who you gonna tell them to watch? Jordan, Bron, Kobe. You're not gonna tell them to watch Steve Kerr.
Brown.
Yeah, right. You're not gonna tell them to watch Steve Kerr. Nothing against Steve Kerr, he's a good coach, but you're not gonna tell them to watch his ass. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're gonna tell them to watch the greats.
Yeah.
And take from them. But it's unfortunate when you do it as an actor, it's not as celebrated. It's almost like, are you biting? And it's like, but if I'm trying to get to where they are, there's obviously something that they've done that I you know, not necessarily need to copy. You don't want to copy, but you want to go, okay, their work ethic. Okay, how they handle their business. Like the one thing I'll say off gate, as far as the social media, I tell people, and I've been looking at it recently, is study Kevin Hart and The Rock. Them dudes are 100% across Twitter and Instagram, 100% the most official on how they handle their shit. Like they put up something notoriously is going viral every single time.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and
They have a great dynamic.
yeah. And it's like, okay, do that. The Rock's
Don't reinvent the wheel.
right. The Rock's work ethic is crazy as far as in the gym.
Yeah.
I wish he applied that more to some of his, you know, diversity in his acting, but he also knows his type. Like we were talking about.
Bang, bang.
Right.
That's a shot.
Right. I mean, but the thing is it false though? You're not gonna see The Rock in no romantic comedy.
Right.
I mean, it's still to come. So, but I think the sky's the limit for Rock, but for Kevin Hart, I think he's hit the ceiling.
That's the personal shit, and that goes back to what Tamara was saying. Is like keep your personal life personal, but at the same time, you know, Kev, and he says this in a documentary. I mean, you fucked up at this point. Kev, Justin Timberlake situation. It's like, yo, you are globally known. There's nowhere in the world that every white boy looks the same, but everybody knows what Justin Timberlake looked like.
Yeah.
So when you get somewhere, of course, people gonna pull their phone out and do that. Same thing with Kevin Hart. People gonna pull their phone out and record you. So don't be doing no shit you ain't supposed to be doing because you know it's gonna happen.
I also think it's due to their team, like Tiffany Haddish as well. Like their team puts their content out so much, like in a mass production, which they're doing great work. But because it's all it's all in a short period of time, then the audience could also potentially lose focus because it's overload. Right. Whereas some artists that are spread out, like say Fabulous comes out with something every 10 years or so, like, oh snap, like okay.
Oh yeah.
And then
Holla back, youngin.
right, you know, so
Who had those cocktail pages? I had a two-way. I ain't gonna front.
but you know, like you can spread out, or like Daniel Day-Lewis spreads his stuff out. You know, Charlize Theron doesn't do a project like often.
Yo,
either.
she is fire.
I love Charlize. I love Charlize.
Y'all may
Theron's
not agree.
career.
She is
You know.
fire. You know, she's South African too.
Oh,
I
Charlize
want to clown that mountain.
Listen, bruh.
Gosh.
Like, she not black, but apparently she ain't cracking because she looks the same.
Dog.
Yo, since the Devil's Advocate,
She looks the
she
exact
looks exactly
same.
the same.
Dog.
Like, that can't be, and it's not Botox. Like, she's like, dog.
Yeah.
She was amazing.
And you know, she was on
Bombshell.
what'd she say? She got kicked off her Tinder or some shit like that. Recently, she tweeted she got on a dating app and they
No,
kicked
that
off.
was
Was that her?
nah. Shit. Who was that? Sharon Stone.
Oh, Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone, yeah.
Sharon Stone out here?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
out here trying to get.
She giving out box?
Oh, man, listen.
Oh shit!
Listen, you better holler.
I mean,
Cougar, hey, saber-tooth tiger, baby.
Maybe looking for the basic instinct.
moo.
Yeah, but no, it's putting out. I think there's a thing of doing too much. Like to me, the social media, and that's actually a good point. And basically, to me, is putting out content every single day, multiple times a day, is almost like putting out a movie every other week. Like after a while, it's like, okay, damn. Like I don't want to see your ass in every single thing. Like
Kevin Hart?
basic. That's why people got tired of him too. Like he was coming out with a movie every other month. It seems
That's what
like.
it felt like. Yeah.
I'm sick of Kevin Hart.
It's
You
like
just hate that nigga.
That's what. If y'all want to label me one nigga I hate Kevin Hart
But for why, Congo?
because he's in every fucking thing.
Don't hate the game, not the player.
I don't hate him, but y'all label me as I hate him.
Because you hate that nigga.
I don't hate that.
Every
nigga.
chance you get to say something disparaging about
I
that
just
nigga,
want him
you do.
to chill the fuck out, calm the fuck down.
He did that.
Because
The car did it for him.
we've had this conversation with Rob Markman. If
Yeah.
he wants to be on the Eddie Murphy level, he has to calm the fuck down with
Right.
as many movies as he's
or
putting out.
Dave Chappelle
Because they're
Yeah.
not good movies.
Yeah.
Eddie
Dave
Murphy
Chappelle.
put out classic after classic after classic. Good movie, classic.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart's just putting out movie.
And you just touched on it. That's the thing for me. At the end of the day, it's always about quality versus quantity to me. To me, if you look at my resume and say, oh, Chris hasn't been in a lot of shit, but if you look at my shit, it's like bangers. You know what I'm saying? Or shit, it's like, I fucks with that show. I like that show. I don't want it. And as much respect as I have for Sam Jackson, but you got to think about it. How many fucking credits this dude got? Like 300? Not all them shits are bangers.
Yeah.
You know what
But
I'm saying?
I don't hold that against Sam Jackson though, because
No,
Sam
because he's a
Jackson-
working man. Like his work ethic is, this is a job.
Most of Sam Jackson movies be here.
Yeah.
Most of them. But Kevin Hart movies is just like
Formula 51, Black Snake Moan. Nah.
You don't like Black Snake Moan?
Black Snake Moan was
I
alright.
kind of liked it.
He was alright in Black Snake Moan.
But you don't like Christina Ricci?
And Deep Blue Sea.
Christina Ricci
I
got
didn't
a
like
problem
that.
with.
You don't like Christina
Christina
Ricci?
Ricci I got a problem with. She like mildly racist.
In real life
Wait,
or just
what?
in the movie?
Like real life. Yeah.
Is she really racist?
Yeah, like
Don't do that to me.
mildly racist.
How she don't
Don't hold Casper against her. She mildly racist, nigga.
Wow, wait, I didn't know about this.
Wednesday? Damn.
Wednesday, yes.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, that's a shame.
That's
I'm just-
just
Okay.
I'm
just
sorry
saying.
to ruin that for y'all. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't
My
know.
bad.
But yeah, it's just like you got to look at, like, for example, you talked about that. It's like, all right, if you go down like Denzel, something like that, you'd have to scroll for a minute to find. Oh, that movie was, you know, it's like what's his name?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Off the top of the head.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean, one movie every 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like Jay Farrell. What did he say when he did that skit? You know, only had one bad movie. That was Virtuosity. You know what I'm saying? It's like, technically, yeah, that shit was terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But again, you got to look at that sort of thing. You look at somebody, like you said, is Kevin Hart, where it's, you know, you're putting out movies and that's great. You're putting out content, but it's not.
It's not.
And
of
Tiffany's
quality.
starting to get that way. And I got mad love for
No,
Tiffany Haddish.
Tiffany's been
I
that
got mad
way.
love for her, but she's starting to get
We
that
need
way.
to keep.
You hate Tiffany Haddish too, nigga? Damn.
I don't hate Tiffany Haddish.
You can't
too,
hate
but-
Tiffany Haddish, man.
No,
She's real.
No. She plays the same fucking role.
Yeah,
That's
she
her
does.
niche.
You
that
hate the black
cannot be a
unicorn?
niche. She plays the funny black ghetto woman in every fucking role. You can't be the
Yeah, she
loud
does.
black woman in every goddamn role. Ever since fucking what was the movie with Queen Latifah?
Girls Trip.
Girl Trip.
Trip.
Yeah.
She been playing the same fucking role
Yeah.
every movie.
Yeah.
That's the only reason they hire her. Every fucking role. She's the same
He put
person.
some church in it. He
Again,
put some pastor
that-
in his voice.
Again, that could also be due to the team saying, "Oh, well, you know, you got this offer, you know, and
Yeah,
then
let's do it.
they're looking for this type
Night
of
school?
character."
You still the fucking loud black woman. Night school.
Hey,
Yo, you
man.
angry?
You know they making a TV show, right?
How they make a TV school? Night school?
Yep, TV show. Yep.
Are you in it?
No,
Okay. I don't care then.
but actually, on some real shit, the TV show might actually be. I think that's a type of concept that's good for TV. Like, because it's better to
Yeah, Night
chronicle
School would be good
him
for TV.
going through school. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
him-
saying?
yeah, him going through
I
the
think that
actual
would be
school
straight.
year.
But she's producing on it. Will Packer, her, Kevin Hart. They're not in it
Listen,
though.
I'm not mad. Yo, I'm rooting for everybody black. I'm
Don't
just
seem
saying.
like it.
Wow.
I'm just saying. You hate
I love you. Relax. I'm rooting for everybody black, but it's just the fact that, like you said, quality over quantity.
Yeah.
I'm not with it.
Yeah.
It's just it's just quantity.
Right.
But
And that shit doesn't fly.
it don't fly with me.
all the time.
Maybe
But-
I'm the only one that got a difference of opinion. I don't know.
But again, the reps. I mean, the reps have a thing to do with it. The actor can also say. I agree with that too. What Tamara's saying, but the actor ultimately has a say at the end of the day.
right.
You know, it's us that has to sit there and say, nah, I'm gonna hold off on that. Nah, I'm gonna pass on that.
Right.
And if you don't, then you know that you risk. Like for me, I try to. You know, granted, we got to keep. You know, our insurance. We got to pay our bills. We got to pay our dues. Yeah, that goes without
That's the
saying.
same thing I say about Kevin Hart. Like at one point, they're gonna stop calling your name for shit, so you got to get the bag while you can.
Right.
So I understand why he's doing what he's doing, but it's just the fact of, are you chasing the bag or are you chasing the legacy?
Right. And
Like,
and
or you want your
can't leave-
kids to be good, or do you want that, like the Eddie Murphy was like, I can make Shrek, I can make whatever the fuck I want, and it just be like,
And
I'm
that's
not
the
hurting.
thing. That's the thing. It's like Eddie Murphy is. People sit there and say, "Well, Eddie doesn't have to come out with it." It's to me, it's like Nas, it's like Jay-Z. It's like to me, it's like Jay don't need to come out with another album. You could do a whole set just off your first 4 albums.
Yeah,
Same thing with Nas.
you can do
It's
something
like,
with B-sides.
Really?
Yeah, just like
really, like your whole album, like your catalog is stupid. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Nas. Same thing, like it's like a lot of these rappers out here don't have to put shit out over and over and over and over and over again. It's developing that type of the content. Like to me, I was like disappointed in M. I'm like, yo, why are you dropping another album, dude?
not talking about that.
Now the first couple tracks I thought I was like, all right, cool. And then after a while I was like, yo, you're whining
You're
right
not
now.
gonna get me talk about that white man like that.
Listen, man.
He's one of my favorite white men.
No, but that's why I'm upset because I'm like, yo, what you doing,
nigga,
dude?
I'm upset.
Right.
You
Out
don't
of
like
nowhere, dude,
Godzilla?
it's like, yo, and if you gonna do it, then no, Godzilla, that shit is crazy.
Yeah.
He goes hard on that.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
shit with Young and May, I'm like,
Yeah,
yo,
the Young and
here's,
May. What?
here's the thing on
Her
that.
verse.
I gotta speak on that real quick before we wrap up. Listen,
Please.
I'm very secure about my shit. I don't worry about no dudes trying to holler at chicks.
Oh.
I don't worry about, I don't play that cuffing season.
Yeah.
But Young and May come around, I'm cuffing the shit.
Yep.
She
She gonna scoop your girl, nigga.
Yeah,
100%.
women
100%.
women eat pussy way better than you. So it's just that's just the
She's
short
got
of
the
it.
best of both worlds. She's got manly energy and a female body. Like for the most part, like female essence. I should say
Yeah.
not body essence. And that you can't beat that shit.
she got the strap and she can eat pussy way better than you.
It's like I heard her on the verse before I even looked who was on the track. I thought I was like, yo, what
Who
is
this
this?
nigga? Yeah, who this nigga? You spitting.
This nigga.
This nigga spitting.
I was like, yo,
Oh,
he's
shit.
spitting. He's spitting. Oh.
So he spit.
Okay. Dog, that shit threw me all the way.
Yo, this nigga got bars, yo.
Bars, son.
This nigga got bars. Oh shit. Who this? Who's
Who
this?
the fuck is Young Ma?
Who's young? Who's young MA?
Yeah. I'm saying like, who is this?
Master Assassin? Who's young Master Assassin?
Assassin.
Listen.
The Wu-Tang member?
Right?
End of the day.
Oh,
quality
yo,
on quality.
oh,
Speaking of which,
Shut up.
Wu-Tang
Oh, never mind.
got picked back up. Did y'all like that
Oh,
series?
I did. Yeah, that was good.
Wu-Tang series, yes.
Yeah, it was good. I liked
Yes,
it.
yes,
got picked
yes.
back
You
up.
got in there yet, right? You got in there, right?
You got has not been you got Capadonna and vaguely Master Killer has not been introduced in the shit, but I'm hoping the second
This new
season there
season.
will be introduced
Was
in
Red Man in it?
Red-
Nah, I think that'd be
I
dope.
bet you in the show before you got her.
I wouldn't
Hey,
be
real
surprised.
shit, real shit. I ain't gonna front. I would literally hit my reps up and be like, yo, if they bring Redman light skin ass in there, I will grow braids.
Yo,
I
Red
will grow
Man.
braids.
Yeah.
I'll try to get that shit down.
Nah, but you have to listen to Muddy Waters like on repeat before you actually take on Redman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Please.
yeah. Because
Like you got to get to hear like Time for Some Action. Like
Redman his shit was just a different.
I'm a dog you.
Right.
If you get on if you get that part and get on Twitter, I'm like, yo, I fucking hate this nigga. I know this nigga.
I'm gonna be on a list. Yo, this nigga Chris about to die.
Not deaf, but
Definitely no time.
no.
Yeah.
So where can I find you on social media? So Tamara.
Tamara
if you care to.
No, that's
Okay.
fine. That's fine. Tamara TAMARA _Austin. I may change it.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
That's on
What does
Twitter and
That's on
Instagram.
Instagram.
If they follow you,
Instagram.
it'll stay. So.
Yeah, if
Okay.
it's Twitter, it's Tamara S Austin.
Tamara S. Austin. No underscores.
No,
Right,
no
right,
underscores
okay.
there.
All right. Chris.
Oh, you already know. I don't do the Facebook thing. So
Okay.
Instagram is
That's
actor,
for like aunts and uncles. Sure.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Instagram is actor Chris Greene. Make sure you put the E on the end.
Right.
And Twitter is ITS Chris Greene. For some reason, they wouldn't let me have actor Chris Greene. So
Somebody already got us more famous than you. It's all
I
right.
actually know. I looked it up, and it's not even an account attached to it. It's just, I guess it got blocked or suspended, or I don't know what the fuck.
See?
Just like they did with my Twitter shit. I mean, my Instagram shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Now, usually at the end of the show, we do like a pick. So, is there anything that you guys are like watching, reading, listening to that you want to let the fans know
damn.
about?
I just started that You shit on
That's the
Netflix.
same thing I was watching it.
I just started that because all these damn memes. I was like, I gotta watch this show now. You know,
And they say, I want that role.
yeah.
I love somebody. I can kill people.
He's like, I can help you. So yeah, I'm peeping that out as far as shows. I gotta check out Bad Boys. Last couple movies I saw were Uncut Gems and the Adam Sandler joint, which I thought he did great in, but the movie just
That's coming on Netflix, so I'm not going to the movies to watch that shit.
the movie just wasn't.
Something that
It wasn't-
Gems?
It did. He did well, but that's the content didn't match with the level where he was at. Unfortunately.
Kevin Garnett fucked it up.
Nah, Kevin. Well, Kevin's playing himself because this takes place back when they were in the playoffs and Boston was
Yeah.
winning, so he was just being Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I think what was the other movie I saw? I saw another. Oh, that underwater shit. Kristen Stewart, where they're under the deepest in the Mariana Trench.
What?
Oh, nah.
Pitch
I'm
black
good.
underwater.
I'm
Basically.
good.
Oh.
The girl from Twilight.
I
She was underwater with the
Yeah.
submarine. And it
Dog.
was like, we shouldn't be down here. Yeah, bitch. You shouldn't.
Dog, that
Fuck you
movie-
mean?
They spent $80 million on that movie. If I see the producers, I'm fading them on sight. You spent $80 million
on
that
his
shit.
bullshit.
Real shit. Like, what is wrong with you? You could have made the shit at least in 3D.
Yeah.
For real.
It was yeah. No, I was a little hot about that. If I didn't get into the movies for free, I would have been pissed.
Tamara, you got a pick?
This week, I've been watching a bunch of films somewhat related to the project I was working on. So I mentioned a bit earlier, Silence of the Lambs, which I know is a classic, but I
Yeah.
hadn't seen it, but I finally did.
Okay.
So I watched that. I watched Wind River is really, really good. As Elizabeth Olsen in it.
John Bernthal. Is John Bernthal in that?
Jeremy Ritter.
Oh, is he? I thought John Bernthal was in that one. I guess not.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Goes through the discrepancy in native reservations and the crime system and how there's no missing reports for any Native Americans. So it's really, really nicely done.
Deep.
Yeah. No, it's really
Way to
good.
bring the vibe down, Tamara.
No, but I like social justice films like that. I think it's really good.
Just get icy on the case. You good?
Yeah, word. Dun, dun.
No, I have a lot that I need to watch now that I'm wrapped. I really want to finish watching all the nominees. Like Jojo Rabbit looks really good. It's like a hilarious take on the Nazis. Which I know is a bit twisted, but it's like
Hilarious and Nazis never been together.
Right.
but
Yeah. I get you.
But Watiti looks like he did a really good job with it. So
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see his take. It's from a child's perspective, but it looks really good.
And Reprisal on Hulu.
Prize on Hulu.
Yes.
Watch that.
Yeah. Y'all watch Reprisal on Hulu.
Right.
The shit is
Yeah,
actually
watch
pretty. It's slow start. I'll be honest, but the shit is it. I like it because of diversity. Like you've seen these actors before, but it's not like
You've seen him in this type
Yeah,
of
yeah,
movie.
superstar. Like these are just. It's all about the characters, and I like that shit, man. I think it's definitely got an old school.
It's really timeless.
Yeah, old school feel. It's old school, but like the shit that they're like driving and all that, but it's modern. It makes sense. It's actually, I was like, oh, okay. And then you get to see this one do some hood shit.
Right.
Sure.
Like hood shit. I'm with Tamara and hood shit.
Should we tell him about your nickname?
No.
T Murder?
No.
Oh, that's it.
Broom Quisha.
You don't want to tell him about your nickname?
No. Stop.
You gotta watch the show.
Yeah.
So what's it called again?
This had nothing to do with the show.
So-
She had this way before.
Oh,
Nah.
okay.
No, back
So you
when
kinda
I
got-
first moved to the States, I used to listen to like a lot of like hood music and everything. Like this was like back I was in Texas, so like Mike Jones, I knew about him like 2 to 3 years before.
Stupid
Two, eight,
he was
one,
on-
three, yo. Hey,
Exactly, like way
My job.
before BET was like brand new artist. I'm like, bro, what you talking about? And T.I., like we always knew about him. So, like I was listening to underground music and stuff. So, like I was real
So you gotta tell us.
Yeah.
Trap Tamara.
Trap
Tamara.
So like if you bring like the early 2000s type
Yeah.
back up, like
Yeah.
put on
Yeah,
TT
Cash.
Trap Neil Folk Neil.
Cash money for the 99-2000.
Don't be trying me here though. Don't be trying me.
Yeah.
Trap Tamara. So I appreciate you guys for coming through. Appreciate
Yeah,
you guys
thank you
for staying
for
as,
having
as
us.
long
Yep.
as you did, because I know
Yeah.
you said he had a hard out at like 10. It's like
Yeah.
damn near
Yeah.
midnight.
Oh my God.
Damn.
No, for real.
So
Shit.
I appreciate y'all.
Facts.
We
So,
appreciate
Bobby
you.
didn't eat his
Thanks
damn
for
pizza.
having us.
I appreciate you guys for
Yeah,
coming. You said you wasn't even gonna talk.
I know, right?
I knew she was going to. That's what I'm like. They got the mic set up.
It was
Good.
like, yo, AOG 5 mics.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nah,
You know,
thanks for having
Get the
us.
source up in here.
No problem. So anything else, fellas?
I mean, it's about it. I just want to say thank you to Chris. I appreciate you for always supporting us and shit. Because like you definitely don't have to.
Yeah.
Like you do all this shit and we don't. like we can't pay you for it. Like you just do it off the strength of like.
Oh man, I rock with
show
y'all.
them the show.
100%.
Like, so I just
Off the
wanna-
strength of Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, so not like I can say it to your
That was
face, like
Yeah.
face to face.
The dude that shit on my resume.
Well, you know. Well, I didn't.
Yo.
I'm appreciative, even if Bobby
Y'all
not.
niggas need 5 minutes outside. Yo.
Show over now.
Show
Nah, the cool thing about Chris is that I didn't even know he was famous until like,
Shit, I'm far from that, man.
damn, you been in shit. Like, it's like,
Yeah, far from famous.
oh, this is acting, nigga. All right.
Oh, don't worry. When I get on, man, y'all get y'all travel game tight, man. It's gonna happen.
Word.
Yeah.
Yo, if I could maybe get some pussy up, like I know him.
Wow, that's what we doing now. That's what
My
we doing
nigga,
now?
I'm definitely using you for like, yo, if you big, something big.
He trying to get me. Domino trying to get me caught up on TMZ and shit. You ain't gonna get me too.
No, I'm talking about for me. Like, baby, I
they
know
gonna
him.
be like,
so
oh,
what?
yeah, you do it dirty. I'm like, that's Chris Greene's homeboy. They ain't gonna get mad at you.
Oh shit!
Oh shit.
I'm gonna be apologizing for tweets from 10 years ago.
It's your fault for bringing that crown apple.
Yo, I already said I ain't apologizing for shit.
You might want to.
I might not, but I might want to, but I'm probably not.
You know, shit.
So,
I done said mad shit. So
with that said, anything else, fellas?
nah, nope. I think we made it.
All right, so Ninja Vanish.
Oh shit.
We out of here.
Yeah.